If your definition of true Christian is someone who is actually saved and redeemed by a risen Christ, then I fully admit that I was not a true Christian. G-Man, 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 G-Man. To read your Bible and do what it says.
I'm just going to speak up on what y'all don't know, but in regards to my wife, she is probably, if not the smartest, one of the smartest people that I know.
Is the origin of feces. You're just as brain dead as your boyfriend Nietzsche. The descent of man has been foretold as pseudo-crack science and comedy gold. With my Christian sword, I'm giving you scars by crushing your pride by dropping sick bars. With the power of God and the King of the Jews, I'm the natural selection to school this fool. I heard Miss Parker was giving out freebies. Her man found out I'm the dominant species. So choke on the truth and don't act surprised when Christians praise Jesus because he's still alive. I will confess that your husband was wrong. You wear the pants and he wears the thongs. Your fake Miss Parker, you act like a pig. You smell like fish team with a wig. Jesus the Christ, he conquered the grave. Parker, when you die, you better be saved. You are the joke, and you're not real funny. Your body is cheap for hardly any money. Do you even cook or mop the floor? You weak little lady, I'll expose your flaws. You follow men's orders like a dumb little slave. I can be real petty and pee on your grave with your manly face and your low IQ. Quit being a failure, cause I own you. That's right, chicken head, I don't want no pissing. You worship the devil cause that's your religion. You're addicted to me, and you ain't got no life. Try all you want, you'll never be my wife. I'm a little bit hungry, go get me a tab. And when you serve me dinner, I'll pass on your crap.
Flawless victory.
It's an unfortunate situation.
Okay, so first and foremost, let me make sure you can hear me. Which I doubt you can. Let's just see here real quick. It sounds like you can hear me. Let me check on YouTube here real quick, because if not, I'm going to because I don't want to see a bunch of messages, Jimmy, we can't hear you or nothing like that, because once I get started, I'm getting started. So just give me a minute here. I literally had nobody to help me do a sound test on here, so sometimes this is just the way it is. Let me see something here. All right, so let's try this here. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, so you guys can hear me. It's not as loud as it normally is. I apologize for that. I do not know how to work these settings the way I should, but I hope you all enjoy the best owner in this community in terms of like how I open up my videos. Sometimes I like to go back to these raps. I need to make some new ones, but I've been so busy I haven't been able to do it. So what we're going to do is I made the link available. It's public. And we're going to have this anti-abortion, pro-abortion discussion here. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat here real quick. All right, give me a second. Okay, 1 second, guys. Put something on for you guys to watch. I'm having some real audio issues, so just give me a second here. I really don't want to put that Billy the Fridge thing on here. Put the Billy the Fridge on here for now until I get this taken care of.
You want to have a rap battle? I'll stand in for Paul.
Yeah, dude. I choose my champion to be Billy the Fridge.
Him? I'll crush him.
Dude.
No, all right, here we go. Hey, yo. G-Man said that Jesus is his boss. Your thesis is a loss. You suck a fucking dick. God can toss my fucking salad. Your argument invalid. I'll get a ballot and vote for fucking Satan, cause I'm hating. I like Xenu.
Okay, so
and
set
I
it
see
up.
what you
Set it up.
do
Next week.
when you
Next
eat doo-doo.
week,
You eat the poo-poo? You eat the doo-doo?
Ladies and gentlemen, we invite your apprehensive listeners.
The name is G-Man, not Milli Vanilli, and I'ma take a minute, throw shade at Billy. You say you're a pro, but you're really hot trash. G-Man's too sweet, like I'm hauling Nash. Billy the Hut, you can't touch my flow. Cock it back.
Headshot.
Now you can call me Paul's ego.
You're a boring MC, dude. You're killing DP, dude. Trust me, Billy, nobody really wants to see you. Hey, little Billy, you must be feeling really silly. You tried to beat the underdog, such a pity.
You lack the brains to deal with me.
Professor X in this battle handle minds from the sea. I'm a lyrical giant, flow sicker than bubonic.
You're a small fry little brain still hooked on phonics.
So run away, Billy, from the big bad war. Can't take the heat, get out the kitchen.
Little Billy's getting cooked.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
Funeral time.
Let's pay our respects.
Billy's underground because Billy got wrecked. Such a waste of fame, a giant waste of skill. He tried to be the best, but he couldn't fit the bill.
He really wasn't bright. He had a hit once or twice.
He dwindled and he dwindled till he lost all of his light. He kept up this persona that he didn't really care.
cakes, waking bakes, for his life was in despair.
World dressed for Halloween as a woman, he was basic. That's not more embarrassing than running around naked.
He rejected God, and that's why he fell. His gluttonous soul is burning in hell.
I pray for all the atheists, be saved from your sins. It's not too late, just repent. God will always let you in. Don't follow Billy's path, don't run away from Christ. Just read your Bible, yo, it grants eternal life.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so that's a lot. All right, so that's a lot better, I think. Let me just switch my thingy around here. I want to apologize for the audio issues that I was having. But the link is out there. I'll broadcast most people when they come in. I will be a little bit more strict if I'm dealing with the riffraff on here, if you know what I mean. But let's have a talk about this. It's going to be abortion. I'm sorry, pro-abortionists versus people who are against it, or pro-lifers against people who are pro-choice. And that's going to be the topic today. So the link is out there if you guys want to join. I'm expecting Fetal, Von Elton, and a few other people to come in a little bit later. I sent them the link already. The link is in the live chat. I'll put the link out there again. And before you guys come in here, I'm probably going to say a few things just to set the table so everybody know where I'm coming from. So first, let me give you guys. Working my phone is totally different than working my laptop. How do I give you guys the link again? I can post a comment and do it manually, but there's supposed to be a way for me to I'll post a comment. All right, so I'm going to manually put the link out there for people to come in. All right. Now it doesn't want me to do that. It ain't nothing but the devil. Satan don't want me talking about this topic, huh? You know, want me touching his little baby. But anyway, let's get into this here. Everybody from Todd Malaco to several of these reaction atheists who think they understand and know me and know what I've talked about in the past or whatever, all believe I don't know nothing about this topic and I shouldn't be talking about it. Well, the difference, I guess, between those people and me is that anytime somebody says something about that about me and I have the time and I'm able to jump on this stream, I'll do it very quickly, like I've done to the Geek Room recently and like I've done to a lot of people. I will show up and show you just how much I do know about, these topics regarding whether or not these women should have a right to abort have the right to abort their babies. And I have a lot of reasons to go against that kind of thinking, both biblically and with a secular argument. I have no issues with that, because you got to remember, guys, not all of these secular people out there believe that abortion, that abortion should be an option. You'll be surprised how many of them don't support the idea, and if they get pregnant, they're going to have their baby. You'll be surprised. Now, Todd, you made a pretty big boast in the live chat, my friend. You said that nobody is pro-abortion. There's a couple of you who said that. The link is out there. Come in the room, or be the keyboard hero that you are. A lot of you keep saying I don't care about this topic. I'm the only one in this room, remember that, talking about this. So let's get into this here. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we talk about this, let's go over some rules here real quick, just so that we're on the same page. And then before I even do that, let me try to do something here. Let me cut my camera off. I need my camera to flip. There we go. Now we're talking. There we go. See, that's a lot better. Oh, Lord. That's a lot better. I really need to get a GoPro. Okay, I might like the other side the other way better. All right, so we got some rules here that we're going to be talking about. Now, I can't stop you guys to talk about what you want to talk about in the live chat. You guys want to bring up other topics and whatnot. I can't really stop you from doing that. That's up to my mods to do that. But as far as you coming in this room and bringing up topics that ain't got nothing to do with what we're talking about, I'm sorry. I'll have to ignore you and not take you very seriously. I won't throw you out necessarily right away, but I will most certainly not take you seriously, and all of your credibility will be gone. That is a promise. If you got something intelligent to say about this topic regarding abortion, please come in and make that statement. So let's get started here. I made a YouTube video telling everyone that I do not believe, and I still hold this position, that women should have the right to have an abortion. It is not a God-given right. Listen to that. For the Christians that are watching this, for the aspiring Christians that are watching this, and for the people who outright reject Christianity, listen to the words coming out of my mouth. All right? God never gave us a right to have an abortion. Let me say this again. God never gave us the right for a woman to be able to terminate her pregnancy. Let me see something here. I got some people that came in. So just give me a second here. Every now and then I'm going to have to do this until I get used to using this phone. I personally think my phone is going to replace my laptop, as I think it's better than all of them. Let me see something here. All right, I got a couple of people in the background, and I don't know what they're going to do. I've never seen these people before. So I'm going to let you guys come in. So just give me a minute here. What I'm going to do, let me go to my banners. Brand. Let's see something. I wish I can use a laptop. That's what I wish I can use. Let's use this, maybe. No, that's not a good one. Should I use that one? Nope, it doesn't cover up the whole room. This one's better. Here we go. This one's a lot better. All right, so I'm gonna let the guest in. We got Mango and we got somebody by the name of Luciferian. So you already know where this is going, guys. So let me bring these guys in. Add to stream. This person's name is Mango, and I'll bring in Luciferian or Alan in here, Alan Reyes or whatever. So we'll bring him in here. Add to stream. All right, guys, welcome to the Sowing and Reaping YouTube channel. Where's your opinion on this? Do you believe that women should have the right to have an abortion, and why?
I think that it is a very gray area depending on the situation that the person is in. I am a mom. I will say that. I do have a child. You can probably hear him in the background. It's cool. My entire thing is the situation in which a woman needs or wants an abortion is very gray. And it's not up to law to decide what that area is.
So you don't believe the law has a right to tell you whether or not you can murder a baby or not?
G-Man, do you know what women get abortions? Do you know what the statistics are on that?
Do I know the stats off the top of my head? No, but do I know why people get abortions? Oh, absolutely.
Okay, why?
Okay, so the vast majority of them, and mind you, you asked me what I thought now, all right? The vast majority of them go to abortion clinics because they don't want to be responsible adults and be parents if they get pregnant.
That's
a very small percentage of them go to an abortion clinic. Hold on a minute. A very small percentage of these people that go to these abortion clinics are people who go there, because they were raped or because they think that their life is on the line or whatever, and that's why they're not going to have these babies, which totally goes against nature.
That is incredibly true. Less than 1% of abortions are done by people that have been raped or have an incest case. That's very true. However, space, The vast majority of abortions are done by women that already have children. They are doing the responsible thing because they have children, they live below the poverty line. It is actually a family decision in the vast majority of cases. The man also decides with the woman that it is not viable for her to have another pregnancy because of their current standing.
So how does that give them? How does that give them the right? How does that give them the right to have an abortion?
May I, Mango?
Gave me the stats, but how does that give them the right to have an abortion? Go ahead, Alan or Luciferian.
The name is satirical, so you can call me Alan. It's all good. Now, as far as it giving the right, it would depend on what you mean by the right. Now, if we're going by your religious belief system, then there would be no rights, period, whatsoever. However, we do live in a society with various ethnic groups, various belief systems, but we all have to have at least some common law. Is it perfect? No, but we do the best we can. Now, as far as the right to do so, yes, you should try to use protection, use contraceptives, or in my case, where I got a vasectomy because I said, ain't no one gonna try to hold me back with a kid. All right. But sometimes things happen. There are weird circumstances that come about. Not everything is black and white. It's not a false dichotomy like most people think. Are you following? Or is this too much for you?
I'm following you just fine. Go ahead.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So is it sad that this happens? Yes, because I've heard people have the argument about whether or not the clump of cells is a living thing or not. I look past that. Whether it's a clump of living cells or not, we can discuss that elsewhere. For me, like Mango mentioned, all the poverty, all the bad things happening. I mean, the healthcare in this country is terrible compared to European developed countries. Better than third world countries, yes, but we already have a lot of people under poverty. We can barely feed the homeless. We can barely feed all the veterans. I've seen so many homeless veterans at the VA. So to me, it's like we have all this nonsense going on, and we think we're going to be able to take care of every single young kid that's accidental. I'm sorry, that's just not going to work. It's sad. It's unfortunate. You may not like my answer, but that's my honest response to your question.
I didn't understand a word you were saying. You were sounding like a robot. You might want to say all of that all over again.
So
I heard you perfectly clear. It might be G-Man's connection. I'm sorry, G-Man.
It could possibly be. What about the chat?
I'll try to cut my camera off and see if that'll help. Go ahead.
That might. Okay. Basically, I was saying, regardless if the clump of cells is a living being or not, my main focus is on society. Now, I don't like things to be too collectivist, but at the same time, when you're a member of society, what you do affects society. It affects other people around you. Yes, we have things like contraceptives. We have vasectomies, which I personally got one. Are you still following? Everything's good, right? I just want to be sure.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead. You're talking about contraceptives. You're saying everything is not black and white. I understand that. Go ahead.
Excellent. Then you know what, G-Man? I'll put you a grade above most religious people, because most religious people I run into are like that very black and white thinking. They just see everything with a false dichotomy. So kudos to you for that. So as far as the abortion, why should we have the right as far as an American society is concerned? Because that's where we live right now. I understand you have your belief in your God, but other people have their beliefs in their gods. So as a society, we're not going to wait on you to consult with your God. We're not going to wait on a Muslim to consult with their God. We're not going to wait on people to pray to whatever belief systems they have. They can pray all they want, but as far as decisions for all of us, we're not going to wait on that. So the option of an abortion, which I will admit there needs to be some regulation, of course, like anything else. The option of abortion is there because we got all these people in poverty. We got all this national debt. We can barely take care of our homeless. We can't even take care of all the veterans here. So I see abortion as an unfortunate, necessary option. Now, I know I hear the argument of don't punish the baby, punish, the woman who had her. Well, first of all, we don't know what the woman's circumstance is. So that would depend on the woman's circumstance. And number two, yes, it's sad that the baby dies. But to me, a baby dying is less of a price compared to a baby being born in an abusive household amongst drug addicts, amongst people who can't provide for them, maybe even loving parents, but still are not economically sound enough to take care of them. I'll take myself for an instance. Me and my ex, we had a pregnancy scare one time. Even though I had a vasectomy, we were still a little concerned about it. And we both agreed we were going to get an abortion. So I had a condom on. I got a vasectomy, but the shit slipped off. I overestimated myself, I guess. So there was a bit of a brief scare there. And the thing is, I'm glad that I had the option at the time, because if I had to use it, I would have used it. Because guess what? I'm still going to school. I'm not suited to be a father whatsoever. And she already had 2 other children. So there was just no way. So if you were to tell me and my ex at the time, no, you have to carry that kid to term because morals, well, then I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you, sorry, you're not living my life. I'm going to have to take care of it. So that is all I really had in regards to it. And I have one more question for you, G-Man. You challenged me on Carnivorous Sape's channel. And I invite you openly to my channel. I sent you an email and you refused to. I have a video out there for people to see, so don't deny it. So that's all I had for you. If you want to come to talk to me, I will gladly welcome it. And I have to give you credit. You've been pretty civil and cordial this whole time. So kudos, because the last time you were interrupting me quite a bit and I was not having it. So open letter to you. I won't ask for any money. You want to talk to me? Fine. Dude, it'll just be me and you, no one else. Just a one-on-one, because I prefer one-on-ones. So I will leave the rest to Mango here. And you guys have a good day.
Did my internet cut out? Everything good? Okay. It was G-Man. Hi, Fetal. Hi, Rambling Mystic. Nice to meet you.
Hey there. How are you doing today?
Hello, hello. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Lovely to meet y'all.
Yeah, same here. Look like G-Man's having some technical issues.
Yeah, it's been a pretty bumpy ride so far.
All right. G-Man, can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us.
So that guy just came in and just said what he wanted to say and just left?
Yes.
Can you hear us, G-Man?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. Yeah, I would like to respond to at least 2 things that he said, because one of the things he suggested was whether or not we knew that these clump of cells were living or not. I wanted to ask him, was he a biologist, and how he knows when a cell is living or when a cell is dead. You know, I don't believe that living things come from non-living things. So when we're talking about a woman being pregnant, whether you want to call it a zygote or whatever it is that you call it, the embryo or whatever, in the early stages of pregnancy, you're still dealing with a human. Okay, you're still dealing with a human in its earliest stages, of a woman's pregnancy. So to try to use that argument, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter if you want to call it a zygote or embryo or whatever you want to call it. Still a human at the end of the day. Number 2, he was saying that there's something about being born into an abusive family, and the best way to deal with that is an abortion. No. If you have a parent that has a child, and let's say the parents are addicted to drugs or something like that or whatever, or abusive or whatever, you can give the child up for adoption. But as far as pregnancy, terminating the pregnancy because you fear that you want to terminate the pregnancy because you fear a child's going to grow up in a bad environment. It's ridiculous. There's a ton of bad environments for people that are 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, people who are about to be babies that are about to be born. So that's a terrible argument, if you ask me.
Quick question, G-Man. How many pregnancies have you been through? I think we lost him again.
That is really inconvenient timing, isn't it?
It is, because it is a genuine question. How many pregnancies has G-Man had to experience? Because I've been there.
None.
I've done that.
Wait, so somebody asked G-Man that question, or?
I did.
I mean,
so you think that question?
It is entirely relevant, because as someone that has gone through a pregnancy You can hear my child in the background. He's nonverbal autistic, so he will be clicking because he's happy. He's in a great mood right now. But like, he was going to have a sibling that was indeed aborted. But the reason why is because his father was an incredibly abusive person. He broke my eye socket. He damaged my top teeth. I could not bring a second child into that situation. And I thankfully got out of that situation post-abortion. But at the same time, it was done at less than 6 weeks. There was no heartbeat. It was not a viable baby. Like, if they had removed it, it would have been nothing, you know? Like, there are some gray areas. So I would like to be able to openly discuss it. I'm mostly pro-education, pro-comprehensive sex education, pro-contraceptive access, so that these things can be avoided. However, comma space, they are a necessary evil.
My bad. I don't think you can hear me. All right. So you believe that it is a necessary evil to terminate a pregnancy because the baby might have a bad father or a bad mother?
Because of multiple reasons, really.
What are these multiple reasons?
Well, considering that 92.7% of all abortions are done before 13 weeks, the vast majority are done by college-educated women who are in long-term relationships, who already have children, live below the poverty line. Like, there are so many factors that can play into what causes them to have an abortion. There's a bunch of factors. It's not just, the rape and incest side, it's everything.
You're talking about the economics and how a child and the kind of environment that a child is going to grow up in.
I mean, there's 400,000 children in foster care. Over 100,000 of them are currently waiting for adoption. But the long list of people waiting to adopt white babies is like a 2-year-long waiting list. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Why would you want to put more children into that system? Why would you want to bog down what the states have allocated for these different people? Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to make that an option knowing that you can't raise a child? Because accidents do happen. After all, condoms are only 86% effective with standard use. Because what they put on the box is perfect use.
You could choose not to have sex. Close your legs and don't do nothing until you get into a committed relationship. Wait until you're financially responsible to have a child. A lot of people choose not to do that, and then they don't want to take responsibility for their actions. And I don't think murdering a baby because of economic status is a good way of going about dealing with that.
But as I said, the vast majority of abortions are by people in long-term relationships, G-Man. They're not just single women. They are people that have kids already. They are people that already have one or more kids. They are people in long-standing relationships. What then? What about them? Because accidents do happen. Birth control
They should have those babies and they should take responsibility for having sex. Sex is a responsibility. If you have it, there are certain things that you might have to deal with. If you have sex tonight or tomorrow or whatever, there is a slight chance that you might get pregnant. There is a slight chance you might contract a sexually transmitted disease. There is a chance that you may die. A lot of things can happen when you have sex. But the point of the matter is there are going to be positive and there are going to be negative consequences to it. And one of the other things that can happen is, again, I mentioned it, is that you can get pregnant. If you know that you can get pregnant and you're going to have sex, you should accept the responsibility for what you do. In the video where I made that a woman should not have the right to be able to have an abortion, I kind of compared that to a random murderer. Somebody goes around and says, well, I don't like so-and-so, so I want to point a gun to them and shoot them and kill them or whatever, right? If that person shouldn't have the right to go out there and murder people, then women shouldn't have that right too, because a lot of them can say, well, you know what? I can't afford a baby. You should have thought about that before you opened your legs. I'm involved with an abusive boyfriend. You should have thought about that before you had sex with them. And I will also recommend that you learn how to pick men better. I don't want to have them because
microwaved my birth control, which caused me to be reproductive coerced. What do you do then? What do you do when you don't know?
Well, again, you can pick men better, or you can just dump them, or not have sex. Now, if he rapes you, we can get into that if you want, but as far as him destroying your contraceptives or your birth control or whatever, that's not a good reason to terminate a pregnancy. If you get pregnant, you should be happy. You should be thankful that there's a possibility that you're going to be a mother and you have a life that you can raise. You shouldn't be thinking, I'm going to abort this pregnancy because I just don't want to deal with that. That should not be your attitude. Mystic Rambler, anything that you want to say about this? And then Vackle.
Hey there. First off, can everybody hear me all right? Am I coming through fine?
Loud and clear.
All right, that's great. Just in general, I agree with a lot of what Mango has said here. I think that at the core, this ultimately comes down to a question of self-autonomy. Now, Mango has given an example as to why she had an abortion. It's a realistic example. It's literally as real can be here. Now, she's not saying that every single person should get an abortion in that case. She's merely saying that it's a choice that should be on the table, one that you should make. And that is a distinction that needs to be made here. Furthermore, I think that it's kind of interesting that we seem really quick to brush off, the very small amount of people who do end up getting sexually assaulted, for example. I'm an Ohioan. 4 days after Roe v. Wade got overturned, we denied a 10-year-old child the ability to have an abortion based on the fact that the baby was older than 6 weeks. That is a 10-year-old girl that we denied the ability to have an abortion because the child inside of her was considered to be viable. Now, it's just crazy to me. Like, we have a 10-year-old child who's going to be forced to carry a baby to term directly as a fallout to these rules that we're making. These are not just simple 1% cases that might happen here or there. They're real. They're real people that are going to have to deal with this. And I guess for the people on this panel who are pro-life, that's
pro-life.
Yeah.
G-Man, what are your thoughts on this? How do you feel about little girls that have to carry babies of rape and incest? And I'm not judging you. I'm just curious because I don't.
About girls that are raped? Well, I believe that there's other options. I believe they can get these children up for adoption. I think that's way better than murdering. And I also have the very unpopular belief. Hold on a minute. I also believe, and I'm not trying to be insensitive when I say this. I think a lot of people run to the rape argument for to try to like shock people or whatever in these conversations.
I know. It is.
But women act like just hold on a minute. Women act like rape is like the worst crime a person can possibly commit. I think there's a lot more heinous acts that has been done throughout history besides that. So if a person was violated, if a young lady was violated and she got pregnant, I believe that all these options should be considered except abortion. And the reason why I'm saying this is because that is just murder. If you're going to say that's okay, then give me a gun and let me take out everybody I don't like.
May I ask one
question? G-Man, I want to ask you a question, and you can take it however you want to. I'm not trying to attack you. This is in no way an attack on your beliefs. But can you think of any crime that could be committed against you aside from long-term torture that involves 9 months of carrying and growing something inside you didn't want and something that was forced on you?
How many of them? Well, there's somebody forcing the mark of the beast on me. Then there's, I don't know, certain things getting stolen, killing certain relatives of mine. I can think of quite a few things.
But something you have to live with every single day that steals from your own body.
Well, me and you got a different idea about the body, who it belongs to, who life belongs to, and all those other things. I believe that God created. Well, let me finish answering. Let me finish answering the way that you just gave me. Let me finish answering the way that you just gave me. I believe that God created the human body. I believe that includes the woman, the female as well as the male, and that He is the one that dictates on what we can and what we can't do with our bodies. Because at the end of the day, whether you guys believe this or not, your body ain't your body. Your body belongs to God. You're supposed to be offering it up as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing unto God. But instead, a lot of these women, and I'm gonna get to the rape thing in a minute. I'm just gonna talk about the promiscuous ones right now.
I'm listening.
You know, where they go out there and they open their legs because some boy told them that they love them. Now, the women out there that are told that, you know, the women that are forced on, the women that are violated, first of all, that's a heinous act. That's a horrible crime. But that does not constitute, hold on a minute, that does not constitute you terminating an innocent life that had nothing to do with what happened to you. Persecute, throw in jail, execute, have his life taken away from him if he forces himself on you. But that baby didn't do nothing to you.
But the problem with that statement, G-Man, and I don't mean any disrespect, but this is just my opinion. You can say whatever you want about it. I know you seem a little bit upset by what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. If somebody attacked me, I already have 2 daughters. They deserve the right to have a good life. I can't afford a 3rd baby that was forced upon me. Why do I and my children have to be punished because someone else attacked me? Why does
okay, so you're poor and you have 2 daughters. You're poor and you have 2 daughters. Go to the doctor and get your ovaries removed. If you don't want no more kids.
It's not that easy, G-Man.
But wait, just hear me out a minute. Just hear me out. This is just my opinion.
Go ahead.
I'm not saying that. So I'm just saying, like, you know, because there's other options besides, you know, abortion or whatever. If you came to a place, if you got 2 daughters and you say, no, I can't afford a 3rd one, go make a doctor's appointment and get those ovaries removed. Then you won't be able to get pregnant no more. Now, mind you, that's a bit of a debatable issue in the church too. But I would rather you do that than murder your unborn baby.
To the church, though, if I may, as it stands right now in the U.S., in order for a woman to get some sort of tubal done, there are doctors that have very specific prerequisites. They have to be above a certain age, they have to have so many kids, and they have to have a long-standing partner that will agree for them to get it done. That's how it stands right now. So in my case, with my 1 kid being a single woman at 30 years old, they will not allow me to get that done unless I find and search out a doctor that'll do it that's likely not covered by my insurance. So I'm going to have to pay hundreds of thousands out of pocket to do it.
G-Man, just
for us Christians, sorry, one second. For us Christians, there are 2 things that is a phenomenal glory for a woman. Number 1 is the first thing is her hair, and then number 2 is the ability to have a baby. And the fact that you guys are willing to just terminate a pregnancy simply because you can't quote unquote afford a baby. I'm assuming you don't live in the U.S., right, Mango? You don't live in the United States of America?
I live in the U.S. I live in the South. I live in this.
Oh, you do?
I am not allowed to get an abortion.
You never heard of WIC before? You never heard of
I was on
welfare? You never heard of
I cannot get on welfare because I make too much at my job.
Wait a minute, if you make too much at your job, then if you make too much at your job, then you can have a baby then.
G-Man, I promised I wouldn't interrupt. Can I say something just real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
I have 2 kids. My husband, or my ex-husband, was a Marine veteran. I'm an Air Force veteran. I have gone to school now twice for a degree. And if I have another baby, that 2nd degree is lost. My daycare schedule is on a shoestring. Okay? Like, I know you think it's easy, but it's really not. Like, some of us have hours in a day that have to be dedicated to both our children and our lives, and we can't always mitigate that. If I had a baby, I would be doomed. We'd be back working at McDonald's or something.
We'd be back to square one.
Because you would be doomed economically.
Wow.
You believe that that's justification for having an abortion? Anyway, go ahead, Veckel.
Yeah, listen, I'm trying my best to be as sympathetic with people whose lifestyles might have a traumatic change. But to me, that's still awfully displaying a great sense of some form of selfishness on the part of people using that as an argument. I mean, listen, having a child is a life-changing experience. You know, I'm a father. You know, there's certain things that I can't do anymore because I have now to dedicate half of my time to my daughter, another living human being. Like just today, I came home from a hard day's work, wanted to take a nap, and my daughter was just turned 5 last week and wants to jump and climb all over me. I just I was just ready to yell at her. I said, listen, I take 30 minutes of a nap. Just give me a break here. That kind of thing. So this is what I have to do. This is the card that I've been dealt with, and I have to deal with it. Now, there are probably other ways I could take care of it if I was really lazy, send her off to a grandmother, or, maybe, go to Amazon and buy a cage and put her in that, for a couple of hours. Let me get some sleep. I could do all kinds of things to make my life a little bit easier with this 5-year-old, right? But I think the same applies to those women who are pregnant inconveniently. And, again, as G-Man pointed out, you can give the baby up for adoption, or you could do the right thing and just listen, this is a life-changing experience. I have to deal with this. I'm gonna just, have this baby and see what happens from there.
May
But
I present you with something though?
I'm sorry,
My son. May I present you with something though? My son, he's nonverbal autistic. Okay, that means that even when the school year is over, every single week I have to do occupational therapy. I have to do physical therapy. I have to do speech pathology. There are a number of things that go behind what I do in a week on top of my job, on top of everything else I have to deal with my house and my home. How can I, as someone that has to expend so much time and patience into one singular living being that I already have, be able to expend the same sort of love and affection to another being, knowing that I am by myself and doing all of this? How is that possible? Please tell me.
Yeah, but again, and while I'm sympathetic to situations like that, because that's hard, man,
That's exactly why I did what I did, because his father was abusive. I had him to deal with. Can you see where that gray area is?
Yeah, right. But see, the child is already born, and you're not going to do anything crazy to to make your life better for your convenience there. So, I mean, I don't want to sound insensitive at all, but I mean, this is the life that you have now, and it's just something that you have to deal with. I'm sure there's other ways you can make things. There's certain things you can do to make things easier for yourself, but I don't think it's going to not involve getting rid of the child in any way, shape, or form. I mean,
but can I just say something real quick, because this has been making me boiling. Every dude in this chat, none of you have to deal what we do. We carry that baby from day 1 to month 10, and then we carry them from day 1 to year 18. And that's fine. I have 2 daughters. I love them immensely. I would never do anything to harm them. But when someone forces that on you, that's 9 months in your body and then 18 years in your life. Do any of you have any experience with something that equates to that? Is there anything that you ever have to do?
Actually, we do. But before I get to that,
go ahead.
You said that it sounds like you are feeling that we're being insensitive about a woman carrying around a baby for 9 to 10 months.
She doesn't deserve or doesn't want. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, ma'am. Ma'am, who's carrying the seed? I'm sorry. Who's carrying the seed?
The man. The man has a seed.
Who's carrying the egg?
The woman, but we can't control when that comes out.
No, okay, just hear me out here. So in order for you to get pregnant, you have to have sex. I want to go back to the majority of the reasons that people get abortions. If you want to go back into the rape and all the other stuff, we can actually do that and whatnot. Like I said, they got therapy and all other stuff that you can go to deal with that and everything and whatnot. You should punish probably the rapist instead of punishing the unborn child. If you don't have sex, your egg can't be fertilized. And it's really that simple. You don't have to worry about your economic status. You don't got to worry about being a mommy. You ain't got to worry about none of those things. Okay? That's why the church preaches abstinence. And we say that you ain't got to worry about no contraceptives. You ain't got to worry about gaining all this unnecessary weight because you're taking these pills or whatever to prevent you from getting pregnant or whatever. You know what I mean? At the end of the
Birth control's
day,
only so
if you
effective.
would just wait until you're responsible enough to be a parent, then you can enjoy, having sex with somebody. But if you can't handle it, I strongly recommend that you just stop having sex.
But based on what you just said, if women are supposed to just let the rapist get punished, then why do we need to take birth control at all? Why can't we just live our lives and you guys can just not rape people? Not you specifically.
If we had tougher laws, I mean, the laws in the United States are terrible when it comes to this kind of thing. What, you're looking at about 4 to 5 years with community service. I mean, in the Bible, you had to take care of the person, their entire life, or you stoned them to death.
Yeah,
the Bible
but
was a heck of a lot more severe than this society that we got today.
I agree. I don't disagree with that. But what I'm saying is the point of the matter is we live in now. And now women are punished for being impregnated, whether they like it or not. And you can disagree whether women should bear their burdens if they chose to get impregnated. That's fine. I can accept your religious doctrine. But for the women that didn't choose that, why are they being punished? Why can't they seek reprieve?
I resent that.
I know.
I can go into the secular reasoning. I can definitely go into secular reason on why abortion doesn't make any sense too. It doesn't cause man to thrive. That is for certain. I can take these secular arguments and flip this upside down on you. Abortion actually goes against human beings thriving. Anyway, go ahead, Beckel, or whoever was talking.
Yeah, I just like to take note of the type of language that a lot of pro-abortionists use in these discussions is punishment towards the woman who is pregnant. I disagree with that language. I think it's slightly disingenuous because it's an attempt to try to pluck at the heartstrings of the listeners or the interlocutor that you're having a discussion with. We're not saying, pregnancy is not a punishment. So, unless you're doing it with the intent to get an abortion, then it's a punishment on you because you're the one who put yourself in this situation, and and you're not being forced to keep the baby. In fact, I wanted to respond to something else earlier. Now that Roe v. Wade has been overturned, again, you still have certain blue states that allow abortion procedures to be taken place. You also have even in the red states or wherever states where abortion is banned or would be banned, you still have these major corporations offering money to their employees to take trips to any blue state where abortion is being practiced and stuff. So, I mean, I think the money that they're getting for benefits, they're getting extra money for travel to a blue state so they can get an abortion. Now, I don't know if they're paying for the travel to there as well as the actual procedure, or if it's just one or the other. I don't know. Or both. I don't know. But there's no.
I'm really sorry. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Beckel?
Beckel, yeah. Yeah, Fetal, yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Why is it that I have less rights in the state I was born and raised and served for the military in than the state next door? Why is it that if I was suddenly to become pregnant through any circumstance, I have to travel to another state to keep myself and my children safe?
There's nothing in the Constitution that mentions anything about abortion. So abortion is not a constitutional right.
The Constitution and the amendments have been changed over the decades.
But there's no documented evidence that abortion is included as a part of the Constitution.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, just out of curiosity. I'm just spitballing here. I'm not being serious, and I'm not trying to make a fight. I just want to throw out some ideas. What if the government suddenly said, we deserve all the rights to any medical procedure you want, and we get to review what you do? Let's say you need a colonoscopy. Ooh, spicy. We get to decide if you get to deserve a colonoscopy because that might hinder us from gathering cells from your colon. Is that
did BGTV tell you to say that? Why don't you tell him to just come in here? Because that sounds like him.
Honey, I do my own research. Relax.
Okay, I'm sorry. No. I'm not upset. But when you said that, that sounds like something that one of those reaction knuckleheads would say, or whatever. But anyway, go ahead.
I like those people, but promise me, I do my own research.
Okay, we'll see.
I would say the reason why there's so much backlash against abortion is because it's a moral aspect. There's a moral argument behind it, because you're talking about a human life that you want to destroy, you want to kill. And everybody here, I'm sure, is informed already about the procedures of abortion. You've seen the pictures, you've seen the descriptions of it, about what happens, how they dismember the body. And
that is so false. Can I ask you two
Really?
questions, V? No, hold on, G. I'm still talking to V.
Okay.
We'll come back to you. V. What are your thoughts on welfare? What are your thoughts on war? How do you feel about people sending out other young men into battle to die? I'm curious.
Not the same category, but
Why?
Because I think in time of need, we need to be able to protect our families in our country and the people that we love, people to share the same values, so that we're not, hijacked or invaded by some foreign country that whose values are completely, opposed to ours. Same thing with, domestically. If somebody breaks into my house and wants to harm my wife and child, guarantee they're going to be meeting some weapons, because why? Because that's my God-given right to protect my family.
Undoubtedly, but what about the young men that get
drafted?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest with you. I don't know if I would say that's a moral or immoral thing. It'd definitely be something needed. Somebody's got to go out there and defend, the families here and the innocent. First, Isaiah chapter 1, verse 18 says that we should, God blesses the man who defends the innocent and the weak. So I think that's a good rule of thumb to, if we have no more people enlisted, who else is going to go out there to fight? We have to have somebody on the front line to protect the innocent and the weak. So I don't know. That's a good question for me. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Can I correct someone in the chat real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you do, is that you, Brett King?
Yeah, sorry, I had to go through a mute process and bring my microphone over. How's everybody doing?
I'm all right. I'm gonna need you to cut your camera on to make sure that you're the real Brett King, though. Very briefly.
Real Brett King. I don't know.
I don't know that. You make me do it all the time. I need you to cut your camera on.
I don't ever make you.
That's the real Brett, man. That's the real Brett.
Oh, it's good.
All right, go ahead. All right, good.
I was just saying hello to folks. You gave me an email, asked me if I'd come in, so here I am.
Yeah. So Vaughn, if you're watching, Vaughn, I'd like for you to come in too, Vaughn, if you can get in here. But go ahead. By the way, what's your name? Paul Tarisha, whatever your name is. Do you have a YouTube channel? And did you make a recent YouTube video about Shanny or whatever?
No, but I did recently make one about negs. If you want to go watch it.
No. I'm getting you confused with somebody else. Anyway, go ahead. I thought you were somebody else.
There was a person in the chat, Debbie Williams. They said they call it tubal ligation, but it is abortion. That's actually not true. A tubal ligation is where women have their tubes tied so they can't put out eggs. It's not an abortion because it's done before the egg releases. Like, it's a very separate procedure. It has nothing to do with babies. It's just tying of the tubes. It's very simple. They're two completely different things.
Hey, you guys care if I jump in real quick? I got a comment to make about something G-Man said earlier.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, you mentioned about how men carry the seed and that, you can't have a baby without a man, obviously. I hear this from a lot of pro-life people. They put a lot of stock into the man side of actually producing a child. Just a little commentary on that. We do not carry the child. Poltergeist is absolutely 100% on that. Like, we do not carry any kind of burden on that. We're not the ones who have to pee on ourselves while we're pregnant and just all the other crazy stuff that goes along with it. And just a quick comment on the idea that your, significant other, your lover, could go out and just get an abortion by choice without you having any say in it. I would hope that you would have like a healthy relationship where you guys just talk things out like that. Like, I can't really imagine any kind of person who is in a loving, caring family that a child would be worthy to be brought into, not actually having a talk about that before having an abortion. Like, I feel like if you're a good husband or boyfriend, then you don't really have to be worried about being kept out of the loop on that. That's all I'm saying.
And I like to respond to that. Yeah, I like to respond to that really quick. Mystic Rambler, what do you think is worse, having an abortion or, I don't know, kicking a child in rage? Which one do you think is worse?
Kicking a child in rage.
Well, but wait a minute. You didn't even give the baby an opportunity to breathe in and breathe out.
Well,
you killed them in the developmental stage. You murdered them. You ripped his body. Wait, hold on a minute, because a lot of people don't know what these abortions are. You ripped his body apart. You ripped his legs off, his arms off, his head off. You completely destroyed him. I can show you a partial birth abortion. I can show you what happens inside of a woman when they do these abortions if you want.
No, G-Man.
Except what you have is not true.
Wait. Mango, everybody, G-Man. Tell me what you think an abortion entails, please. I really
murdering a baby. Murdering an unborn baby.
I want to know details. I want to know exactly from the week that they abort to the time that they die. Please tell me.
Why is that so important for me to talk to you about that? I'm just curious.
May I make a response?
I'm just curious. You don't have to tell me. You can tell me to fuck off. I just wanted to know.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna let Brett talk, and then after that, I'll gladly give you the details. But when I do it, don't get mad. Go ahead,
it's
Brett.
okay.
Why,
I'm not offended by anything.
G,
You can tell me anything you
hello.
want me to know.
Can I respond to what the guy said before we go off
Yes,
on
please
offensive
do.
other
I am not offended by anyone's language.
Well, I don't know how many of you enjoy guys like Dave Chappelle, but he said something pretty interesting about the subject matter. It's interesting that a man's not going to be given a choice if the baby's going to be able to live or not. However, on the other hand, if the woman does choose to keep the baby alive and go through with the whole process, the man has no choice. His entire life is going to be put on hold, and he's going to have to work to pay for this baby for the rest of his life. However, the mother gets to kill it because of the 9 months, but the man does 18 years to 20.
To be fair, the man only does 18 years if the woman does the first 9 months. Just
to be fair, right? To be fair,
yeah,
so
just
the man's
throwing out some mouth. Just saying.
But does anybody see the unfairness in this? The man doesn't get a choice whether baby lives or dies. But if baby does come, whether he's with the woman or not, whether she allows him to be in the life of the child, he is going to pay. And if he don't, in the United States of America, by law, they will jail the man. They will put the man away, take his life away from him.
But, and I don't.
That is so true, and I would love to get your opinion about that, man.
Men shouldn't be jailed for.
That's why child support shouldn't exist, right, ma'am?
I don't think men should be jailed for
I'm curious to know, because I'm hearing a lot of people in here, the pro-abortionists here, say that the videos and the commentaries that we've seen on the part of doctors and people who are part of, Planned Parenthood, they're saying that the videos, the way they do this, the abortion procedure was described as being as the baby being dismembered is false. I would like to know how do you know that that's false when we've clearly seen on the part of these professionals, people who've been experienced and been in the field, they're saying that that's what is actually performed, but you're saying that it's wrong. So I want to know, on what basis do you say that they're telling fraud?
Okay,
let's hear that good old education.
Okay, so there is a federal ethics committee that does do research into claims like these. They do review everything that is seen. They review all of the video footage, and it was actually proven multiple times over that the images that were provided by pro-life activists were indeed doctored. That is not the way abortions are performed. In fact, if there is a medical abortion, 9 times out of 10, because of the time frame in which it is done, the fetus is not viable. It is already dead. It is just a D&E, a dilation and extraction. They basically put the woman into labor and let her deliver and go from there. A medical abortion, which is done via pills, is just before 9 weeks. Generally, it's around 6 weeks, the vast majority of them. And you take a couple pills, that clump of cells is gone. That's it. Like,
I don't buy that. I don't buy that.
You can do the research yourself. It's out there. It's all out there. It's all in the open.
I don't buy that your argument against the claims that were being made about the babies being dismembered are false. I don't buy that. The reason why I don't buy that, the main reason why I don't buy that, is for the simple fact that we have the pro-abortionists, up in arms because of the overturning of Roe v. Wade. And one of the main arguments is, well, just because now that it's been banned in certain states, that doesn't mean that it's going to stop women from going in the back alleys or getting a hanger and doing all this, and this in order to end the pregnancy. So when I hear you say things like that, let me ask you this way. Are you saying that abortions before the way that you're describing it, how it's proceeded now, are you saying that it was never done at all? It was never the case where babies were dismembered? It was always the case of...
Okay, I am talking about in legal circumstances, which is through places like the very, very limited number of Planned Parenthoods that do provide abortions, which, by the way, the vast majority don't. Because in order to provide abortions, you have to be privately funded, not federally funded. Federally funded clinics fall under Title X or Title 10. In order to receive those fundings, they cannot recommend abortion. They cannot provide abortion services. All of those are privately funded, but they still have federal guidelines they have to follow. So it's done all legally. It's done all under a precedent that was set so that there is no dismembering of babies and things like that. Back alley abortions are illegal. Back alley abortions are the reason why a bunch of women die because of abortion. Like, there's a difference. There's a huge difference.
So what I'm hearing from you then is that the arguments that the baby being dismembered is something that's no longer being done. Is that what you're saying? But something that was once done before.
It was something that was done when it was all back alley, before there was a legal precedent.
So what's the difference? What's the difference between a person who has a back alley abortion and the woman that goes to the hospital and has an abortion? What's the difference?
The woman who has an abortion lives.
Yep. The woman with a legal abortion
I understand that. I understand that. So basically, you're telling me as a man, if I see a pregnant woman, let's say she's 2 or 3 weeks pregnant, and I punch her on the stomach, that's unethical. But then it's okay for you, if you're 2 or 3 weeks pregnant, to go to a hospital, or you can have a partial birth abortion if you go to the doctor or whatever. There's nothing wrong with you to rip that baby to pieces. Because when you just got finished saying in this room that that's not how abortion works. Let me tell you something about us Christians. We're very similar to atheists when you guys want evidence and all this other stuff and whatnot, right? Can you do me a favor and share a link with me about it with an abortion procedure happening? Because I can do it. The problem is with a lot of you YouTubers is you guys get all sensitive and you want to flag videos. Could you put a link in the description in the private chat there of an abortion happening where the fetus is not, where the baby isn't ripped to pieces?
But everything is just, if I may,
G-Man, I'm not here to fight. I just want to talk. I'm not going to flag anything. I barely have a channel. Okay.
Also, like,
I just want to have a discussion.
I'm not an atheist. I was raised in the United Methodist Church.
Yeah, I was raised in the Baptist church.
Oh, so you guys are Christians now. So what happened to thou shalt not kill?
We do know the Christian doctrine.
What happened to thou shalt not kill?
What about thou shalt not assault?
What about thou shalt not kill? Let's stick with that one first.
What about Genesis 2:7, which says that the breath of life is what gave Adam life? Like, it was the breath of life that caused him to be. What about all of the verses that talk about how you can force a miscarriage on a woman if she
that's
everyone hold the brace for a second.
If I can just speak on what was just said about the procedure. The procedure does involve, although it's a very small procedure, there's something called partial birth abortion, which in and of itself is a euphemism, because it's not partial being born. The child is not partially being born to live, but partially being born to kill. It's called a cranioclast. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but basically it's an instrument that is used to crush the skull of the fetus to allow for the extraction. That's the part you left out. So in order to get the fetus out, you have to, this leg is pulled out with this device first. What do you think is going to happen to a child that small, that delicate, when its leg is pulled out?
They grab
into
the
birth canal?
cranium because at that point they've already moved the fetus, so they grab it by the cranium, and it's already dilated to the point that it can all move out in one piece, and that's only done in rare circumstances in the
So they
very
don't
late
crush the
stages.
fetus's head?
No, they do not. It's the
They
same
don't.
way that you would have to pull out a baby if they got stuck in the birth canal during birth. It's a vacuum, essentially. It all pulls it out in one piece.
Can I
So
can I ask 2 questions real quick?
so the abortionist doesn't jam the scissors into the baby's skull?
No. Can
Oh,
we?
oh, okay.
we
That doesn't
still-
happen.
That has never been
That
a
doesn't
thing.
happen in partial
I'm
birth
sure
abortion?
it has
No.
once
Okay.
or twice, and he.
Well, and now, what school did you guys go to?
Earlier.
Earlier,
That's
you guys
illegal.
talking about the
That's
education and
illegal?
everything.
Honey, I'm
What
not
school
gonna
did you
tell
guys
you
go
what
to?
school I
Because
went
an
to.
abortion is when you terminate a pregnancy.
Yes,
If a woman
that
is
is
2 to
true.
3, well, hold on a minute. If you know that, and the baby is partially formed, and they're terminating the pregnancy, what do you think is happening to the baby? Out of curiosity.
The baby is already dead in most cases, because at that point the baby would be after 24 weeks, because the federal cutoff before the Roe v. Wade overturn was 23 weeks and 7 days. That is, or 6 days. That's 1 day before viability. And the reason that
Let me
happens
make
is
sure
because
I
the
understand
fetus
what
is
you're
dead or
saying
the
here very
woman is
carefully.
in danger.
Let me make sure I understand this correctly. You're telling me that 2 or 3 weeks into your pregnancy, you're carrying around a dead baby.
No,
She
I'm
said
saying 2 or
20
3
not
weeks.
23 weeks.
I said 2
Yeah.
or 3 weeks into pregnancy. It's just a clump of cells. It's under
Well,
16 years old.
so wait a minute, hold on a minute.
That's not a partial birth.
That's a claim. This is why I want to know what school you went to, because that's a claim. Okay, what
No,
that
that's
is
a
a human
fact.
being.
That is a
Hold on a minute.
medical
Hold on a minute. I'm assuming you know biology and all this stuff and whatnot, right?
Yeah, I do.
What that is a human being in its early development. It's not a clump of cells. If you want to talk about cells, are those cells living or are they dead?
They're not. They're not living.
Oh, they're not alive.
Just there. Because there is no heartbeat, there is no brain function, there is no anything.
Hold on a minute,
that
ma'am. 1 second, man, because I know the pride and joy of your community is that you guys know science and everything and whatnot. So what you're telling me is,
atheist.
I'm not calling you an atheist. I'm just trying to educate you a little bit. I'm trying to educate you a little bit because I don't believe that life comes from non-life. I believe that life comes from life. Okay, I ain't into the abiogenesis nonsense. That's not science. But you're advocating that. You're advocating that cells. Hold on a minute. That cells can't be alive. Okay, so for starters, let me ask you this: if you had a piece of wood, or if you had an egg, or let's say you had a piece of meat, as opposed to having a piece of candy, all of those things are made out of cells, right? To some degree or another, right? Please tell me which ones are dead and which ones are alive.
Can I speak?
And
now?
why? Yes.
Thank you. The ones that died, that's the answer. I don't mean to be horrible or crass or anything else, but sometimes it happens. Babies, fetuses die, and a woman should not be forced to carry them to term.
Oh, Tagisha,
You're kind of moving the goalposts. We're not talking about whether or not they died.
We're
talking about babies in their early development.
Listen to me.
You're changing
I'm
the topic.
talking. No, I'm talking.
You guys are not very educated about these pregnancies. I can tell that. Go
I
ahead.
am. I had 2 children of my own, and I watched many children die in my friends' wombs. Okay, babies sometimes die. Okay, you have to be willing to.
So you're saying that these babies started off dead? You're saying that these
they
babies started off dead?
alive.
That's what you're telling me.
No. These women did not want.
But then why are you keep saying that they were dead? Then what did they start off dead or did they start off alive?
They didn't start off dead, but they died.
Okay,
That happens.
At 2
We
to 3
wanted
weeks.
for babies.
At 2 to 3 weeks, like you stated, there is no heartbeat. It is still a clump of cells that is developing. What
The
I
clump of cells
said,
argument is 40
I
years outdated.
lost her daughter.
but it's still a
Please
thing,
stop using
though.
it.
There,
30
there,
weeks.
it
That's
is what
viable.
it is.
You don't need a
Please stop
heartbeat to
using
be
it. Please
alive.
stop
What are you
using
talking
clump.
Was
about?
alive.
It
You need to go
wanna-
watch some Bill
be
Nye the Science Guy.
maintained outside of
Even
the
he
womb
will
at
agree with
2
me on
to
that
3
one.
weeks.
Technically, you're a clump of cells. Everyone is a clump of cells. Please stop using that argument. You're supposed to be following the science. But G-Man, if I
And I
can clear
am.
up,
Yes,
clear
yeah.
up a few other
Yeah.
major errors that were
Sure, go
made
ahead.
by some of the members on the panel. The majority of abortions are being performed by women in their 20s who are not married. G-Man, you were correct. The majority of women who abort are unmarried. Okay, I don't know where you got the idea that most married women, most abortions are committed by married women.
I
The
didn't
majority
say
of
that. I
women
said they are
who
in long-term
abort,
relationships.
oh,
I did
long-term
not say they were
relationships.
married
Oh, what does
because
that mean? Nothing.
that means that you can be in a long-term relationship with someone without
There's
having
such
a
thing as a
marriage
long-term
license.
relationship
Yes,
outside
there
of marriage.
is. Yes,
Okay.
there is.
You can say that. You can be engaged for 10 years. That's fine. Also, most women who abort are educated. They have a high school diploma. It's according to
They
Big
have
Mama.
they have some
Okay.
college education or a college degree.
Most of them, yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm very well
so
versed.
the argument that, well, these are married women. No, these are young
Didn't
women
say
who
they
are
were
making
married.
decisions that
No,
and
they're
because they're
actually in their
making
late
decisions
20s.
about their lives. They're making decisions about their lives based off of misinformation.
But it's not misinformation. It's scientific information. Actually, the
Clump of
vast
cells is
majority.
scientifical?
Yes, it
Clump of
is. It
cells?
is a
That's not an
clump of
argument that
cells.
we make
It is
today.
an argument, though.
40
Like,
years ago, that argument might have
okay,
worked, not today.
so if you get a tapeworm has to feed off of you in order to be able to live. Would you not be able to
Tapeworms
take a
don't have
pill
human DNA.
to get
Please
rid of
talk
it?
about human. We're talking about humans, not tapeworms. Tapeworms don't have
But
human
you're
DNA.
talking about something that has to feed off of you in order to
Tapeworms
be able to
don't have
survive.
tapeworms do not have the DNA of a human. If you're going to compare a human to something, compare it to another human.
But at a certain point, up until it becomes viable, it's technically a parasite.
Does it have the DNA of a human or human DNA? DNA, that the same DNA that you have. You're a clump of cells.
Yeah, we all are. But you know
Okay,
what? At a
then that
certain
argument
point,
doesn't work.
we
The clump
are
of
a
cells argument
viable
doesn't
clump of
make it
cells.
Okay,
The
so
vast majority
they're
of
not
abortions are before 13 weeks, and those are not viable. They cannot be taken outside of the womb. They cannot survive on their own or with medical help. They will die.
Okay. So because they cannot survive on their own, they can die. They're expendable. Gotcha. In Christianity, we are to protect the ones who are most vulnerable, the ones who
The ones that
can't
are most
survive
vulnerable are
on their own.
babies
Those are the
that are
ones
already
who
living.
those are the ones who we are called to protect because we're
Wow.
Christians. So
The most vulnerable are
Christianity
the babies that are born and like thrown into
reigns
foster care and
supreme, I
stuff.
guess, morally.
Wow. Ma'am, Mango, I believe you're universally wrong on that topic. You're trying to say that a baby that's already born is the most vulnerable and it's not a baby that's in its development stages? Are you serious?
No, I am dead serious because there are over 4,000 kids in foster care because they were born to parents that could not take care of their
Do you
children.
know what an appeal to emotion is?
So kill them before they're born so they don't go to foster.
Oh my
Gotcha.
God.
92.7% of all abortions are done in the first 12 weeks. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
G-Man, may I ask Mingo a question here?
Sure, go ahead.
Mingo, let's say hypothetically that you find that you are pregnant and that you actually want to go through with having a baby. You're out at a restaurant one day and somebody decides to put powder in your cup of water and then they walk away. You don't see this. You drink it, it ends up killing the fetus, but it doesn't do any harm and damage to you. This person killed a baby that you wanted to have, that you wanted to bring in the world. Should they have consequences for killing your child?
Legally speaking, that would only be the case if the fetus was viable. Just saying. Because there have been situations like that that have happened.
So you're
They
saying
will only
someone
press
takes your
charges
baby from
if
you,
the
they
fetus was
shouldn't-
viable.
So there shouldn't be any consequences for some total stranger killing your baby that you wanted. I thought you said women were supposed to have a choice.
Women are. And I've made that choice before. As you could hear, I have a child in the background. I have had an abortion. I have done a surrogate pregnancy. Like,
You're
I have
talking
been
about
there and done that.
murdering babies and their parasites, and you got a baby in the background. Are you kidding me?
He's almost 9. He's not a baby.
Oh my goodness.
He's a parasite, also a big parasite, I guess.
Oh, he's the best. I fucking love him. But
Oh my goodness gracious. So,
G-Man, I wanted to ask you a question real quick because somebody said something about, adoption being a bad, what if the child is adopted by some terrible parents and stuff? You know who else used that argument, sadly? A guy named Smokey Saint, who's a professing Christian. He used that argument too, which I thought was absolutely detestable. So that's not a reason that you would commit an abortion or you should validate an abortion because you're afraid that the child is not going to grow up with some decent parents. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely, Beckel. I got some sucky parents. I'm glad to be here, though.
It's a sad state of affairs that children all around the world, including right here in the United States, end up in situations where they lose their parents or they're with parents that are just absolutely evil. But it doesn't mean that we have the right to kill this child because, well, we don't want them to grow up in a poor environment or, amongst some terrible parents. You don't know that. You don't know the fate of each of these children that are in these orphanages or whatever.
Right.
So it's not an excuse to kill, to practice.
Hey guys, just real quick. Let me make sure that this person is who they say they are. GP, is that you? Jim the Pioneer, is that you? I'm gonna ask this question one more time. Is that you, GP? All right, you're gone.
Nah, that ain't GP. He's not coming on here because I'm here.
Yeah. GP's not coming on here. Yeah. All right, let's continue. That's a fake GP.
I got a quick question for the pro-lifers here. So, talking again.
By the way, Mystic Rambling, I'm happy that you're pro-life and that you care about unborn babies too. You are pro-life, aren't you?
Oh, no, I am pro-choice 100%.
Oh, so you believe in murdering babies. Okay, I got you. Go ahead.
Well, if that's the way you want to put it, I mean, you don't have to be generous, but that does ultimately show your spirit now, doesn't it, G-Man?
No, it doesn't. It actually shows me being blunt about it. If you want, I can sugarcoat it by calling you pro-choice. You basically support the idea of murdering babies before they're born. But go ahead.
Well, and I would say you were anti-women, but that's all drawn.
Oh, that's fine. That's fair. That's fair. I'm not anti-woman, but it's all right. Go ahead.
All right, so that 10-year-old girl, the one who my home state shamefully turned away and said that she could not have an abortion. For all of the
good for them, by the way.
Here, how would you guys rationally and logically explain to the 10-year-old girl that she has to carry that child, taking into account the fact that she is 10-year-old? I mean, she's only 10. She might not understand the actual process by which children are created. This may have been a horrible, twisted crash course for her. You may have to explain the birds and the bees. And then you might also have to explain the actual ins and outs of pregnancy to this child. So I just want to know, how would you guys logically explain this to a 10-year-old?
Easy. May I go, G-Man, real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
Easy. Here's what I would do if I came across a situation like that. First of all, I would inform her about the moral attributes of abortion. I would just say that it's evil, it's wrong, it's a sin, it's of the devil, okay? And it's not something that ought to be even considered in the first place.
That's right.
The second thing I would say is that, listen, you have people that love you, that people that support you, that will support you. You're not alone in this situation. We're going to be there with you all the way to the end. And then, and we'll also consider things like either adoption, or, maybe we'll provide some other care where she can be given assistance to take care of the child should by some reason she decides to keep the child, but again, while we're sympathetic to the situation with the 10-year-old,
you said if she decides to keep the child, she does not have a choice.
No. What I'm saying, keep the child, I'm talking about after the child is given birth. I should have put that there. Like after the child is.
My apologies then for jumping on that.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, I should have been more specific. Yeah, like after the child is born, she decide to keep the child and raise the child at, or give it up for adoption. I think if the 10-year-old decides that she wants to be responsible and take the child under her wing, I think there are adults who are mature enough and responsible enough to help this 10-year-old learn what to do and help her take care of the child. But again, killing the child because it's a 10-year-old that had the child, that's not an excuse, man. I'm sorry. That's not an
If I
excuse.
might make a quick comment.
Well,
on
rambling, may I respond before you move the goalpost and
Well, if
over there?
you may,
Can I
respond?
respond? I'd
Well,
like
actually,
to respond
Brett,
to
I
your
would
question.
rather respond to Veckel while
I
I
would
still
like
have
to
it fresh on
respond
my
to your
mind.
question
I
there,
would rather
rambling.
respond to Veckel
Oh,
while
I
it's
thought
still
people
fresh
had
on the
choice. I thought you cared about choice. I guess
Well,
it's
if
not with
maybe
men.
we should leave it up to G-Man here. Do you
All right, so let Brett King speak. Let Brett speak. Let Brett speak.
Let's hear
I
it.
want
Let
everybody to pay
Brett
attention.
speak. Go ahead, Brett.
I want you to pay attention to the logic of rambling, and Beckel, very good on your response on this. But rambling is basically saying that if a child is, somebody's yapping while I'm talking.
All right, so everybody's got to mute if you're not talking. If you don't, I'll remove you from the room until you know how to mute.
So, according to the logic of rambling, and very good on your response on it, Beckel, but his response is, if you go out and somebody does a terrible, brutal act on a young girl, then this equals you should kill the child that she may have. So you just committed another act of evil, sir.
Hey, G, somebody's background music. Background. I don't know if it's a Portuguese. Can you mute her?
Yeah, I'm gonna remove her because her screen looks like it froze, so she'll come back. Okay. I'll get rid of her right now. Hold on. Remove from stream. I ain't gonna ban her, but I'll remove her.
I was wondering what she was doing. Was she staring at her kneecaps for a long time?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is this: I don't believe that there's any reason for a woman to go out there and have an abortion, and I think that a lot of these women are going against nature because pretty much all animals pretty much care for their offspring. They'll die for their offspring, except when you get to humans, because when you get to humans, they rationalize the idea of not even having these children if they think it's best for them because they're selfish and they don't want to think about the child and what that child could contribute to society. I would love to hear your opinion about that, Mango.
Well, if you might mind if I just respond to Veckel and Brett Keane real quick before you dive into that, Mango. I have the same issue with both of them here, and it all comes down to what was left out of Veckel's explanation. It was a pretty comprehensive explanation, and I would say that he did give the kid the benefit of having a family to support her and leaning on that, which you should do. What was left out is the fact that this is a 10-year-old child we're talking about, and a 10-year-old child is not meant to have a baby and carry it to term. This is going to cause very drastic changes to the child's body that is going to be very painful, and that she's just not going to have any rational way of really understanding herself. Now, Veckel, you did not bring this up. You did not try and explain it, and I can only assume that this is because it was something that you yourself did not consider, and this is a very serious consideration. This is pain that we're talking about. I mean, I understand that it's not a really easy topic we're talking about here. We are talking about potentially trading one life for another, because if we're being serious, yes, a 10-year-old carrying a baby to term very well may mean the death of that 10-year-old. That's a very serious concern we're talking about here, and that should be a choice, nothing forced.
Well, see, but you don't have the authority or right to make that decision until the time that she's ready to give birth, right? I mean, you can't just say, 2 weeks in, after conception, that's
her choice, Veckel. It's her choice entirely.
No, you do not have the right to arbitrarily make this claim that
it's not my right, it's hers.
You do not have the right to make this claim that 2 weeks into her conception, after conception, that she should already have an abortion because she's only 10 years old. She most likely will not be able to handle a baby or have this type of trauma done to her body. But I don't think that's a viable answer or response to what I said.
Well, Pickle, if I might just cut in real quick here, the issue is I'm not saying the child has to do anything. You are. I'm saying
Well,
the child
here's what I would here's what I would say to these arguments where they're, and by the way, this story is really, really suspicious. The mother is saying that the man did nothing wrong. The so-called criminal here, the illegal immigrant, by the way, who was charged with raping and impregnating this woman, the mother is saying no, that nothing happened. That didn't happen. The abortion clinic said he was only 17, listed him as a 17-year-old. So there's a lot to this story, and I always like to wait when liberals come out with a story. I always like to wait a month at least, or a couple of weeks, for the real facts to come out. But there's something to be said about them looking for these cases, these obscure cases, just 0.00001% of cases. Let's say, here's what I do when they argue this. I don't even waste my time. Grant them. We will grant you the 1%. 99% of the abortions are on demand. Do you still believe, after we grant you the 1%, that the other 99% should be outlawed? The answer is no. So why are you arguing the exception as if it takes precedent over the rule?
First of all, she was not a woman. She was a 10-year-old child.
Because you're a liberal.
And the person in question is not 17. He's listed as being 27, and he was charged as a 27-year-old.
I said the abortion clinic listed him as a 17-year-old.
They listed him as 27, which is why he was able to be charged.
They listed him as a 17-year-old because they're used to lying. Because when people come in for abortions, they don't want people to know that these people are having
she had to go to a different
sex with
state
people. Okay.
Because of the abortion bans in her state.
My point was rather than to fiddle over the minutia and those details, and my point was is that why are you arguing for 1% of cases of abortion as if you don't believe that the other 99% should be allowed? That's my question.
Well, see, I said when I first got in here that I am very much pro-education and pro-access to contraception because that will reduce the abortion rate. Like, that's the only way to guarantee, like, abortions are a necessary evil. I've already said this before. They're a necessary evil. However, space, you can reduce the amount of abortions needed if you provide access to comprehensive sex education and access to contraception. Like,
wait. Let me ask you a question.
Or you can just close your legs and not have sex until you you're responsible enough to have your mother.
I want to ask. When you say we should be educated so we can reduce the amount of abortions, so you're saying that the only abortions that should take place then are those in again in the 1% where the pregnancy is actually the mother's life is in jeopardy because
they're not saying that. They're not saying that. That's my point. They're saying they're using that as a crutch because they're dishonest.
It's not a crutch, and I'm not being dishonest. I'm saying
if we grant the 1%, Mystic, if we grant you the 1% of cases that you love to prop up, I'm talking to Mystic now.
You weren't talking to me at all. You were talking to Mango.
If we granted, I know you don't want to talk to me because you're not a man. If we granted you the 1% of cases that you keep propping up, simping for these women who want to kill their babies, if we grant you that, will you say then that the other 99% should be illegal? The on-demand abortions, that ones that don't include rape, incest, or the life or the health of the mother. Would you say that those should be illegal or outlawed?
I'm going to answer you, but man, you were talking to Mango, and you should really finish your conversation with her, bro. I'm going to say that all of those other 99% of abortions, they should be legal.
Thank you.
I would say except for third trimester abortions.
Yeah, I yield. Thank you. So it's not about so you don't care about rape victims. So stop using them as a crutch, as an argument.
You don't care about rape victims, bro.
We're Christians.
I was again. So I'm saying I don't know what the Christians. I don't know. You guys tell me how you feel about it. I mean, the situations, the 1% where the mother's life is in jeopardy due to the pregnancy, the complications of the pregnancy. I've heard that it's like 0.00000 something percent of that being the case where an abortion is actually heavily considered. What are your thoughts on that, G-Man, Jill?
I'm
Brett?
sorry, repeat the question because I was about to invite Scholar Fiction here. I completely forgot about him. He would have been perfect for this.
Oh my God, we wouldn't get anything done. Well, in the cases where the mother's life is in jeopardy due to the complications of the pregnancy, some people say it's a 0.000 something percent. What are your thoughts on having an abortion procedure done under those very, very rare circumstances? What are your thoughts on that?
Christian worldview or the secular worldview?
Christian worldview.
Christian worldview, that is between the believer and God. If you're talking about the mother's life being on the line in those super duper rare conditions, I don't consider rape to ever be a condition of that. But I do believe that if you're a Christian and you know that you're gonna die if you give birth to it, because suicide's a thing too. You know what I mean? That's between the person and God at that particular point. That's the only time the word "gray" even enters the conversation when it comes to this particular topic. Yeah. But even then, if a woman truly loves her offspring, Christians practice selflessness. You know what I mean? And you would expect them to be like, I love my child so much, I'm gonna give my child, a chance at life. You know what I mean? Because that's what parents do. In this generation that we live in today, man, these parents are justifying, me, myself, and I, and not thinking about their unborn child. And I think it's disgusting.
Well, Beckel, I suppose I would say it like this. Whenever I was a younger man, these kind of questions probably would have got me. But I don't know if you know this, but I'm a part of a lot of communities and groups on Facebook. And there's a woman over there, a young woman who she unfortunately was she was beat up. She was raped. It's a part of her Christian testimony. She ended up going and having the baby. Now the baby is like 15, 16 years old, and she says it's a blessing from God. And she takes pictures with her and the baby. The girl is beautiful. The girl's going on to she's got plans for college, everything else. Just absolutely beautiful. She said, even though this evil and terrible was done to her, this is a miracle of God given to her. And that's how I see it nowadays. If you would have asked me when I was younger, I'd probably been like, oh yeah, that's scary. Oh, what am I going to do?
Right. No, I was talking about in the rare cases though, where the mother's life is in jeopardy due to complications of the pregnancy. What are your thoughts personally?
What's a matter of self-defense and protection? If the woman's going to lose her life, most likely whatever's going on inside of her is going to be lost as well. That's how I would view it. You got to do what you got to do. But Mr. Deacon may have a better response for that.
By the way, this procedure for women who have a pregnancy, or maybe at risk, already existed before Roe v. Wade, and it still exists to this day. So the argument that we have to keep the 99% because of those 1% of those possible rapes, and it's a farce. It's a farce. It's a ruse.
True. Yeah, okay? I agree with Jill on that.
When you ask these same people, well, okay, we'll grant you that. We'll grant you those procedures. They'll still say we want the 99%. So defend the 99%. That's what you need to defend, not the 1%.
Exactly.
Do you guys see
and by the way, I never heard any of them make an argument when abortion is not acceptable. Like the entire time that Mingo was in the room, or the other person that was in the room, or even Mystic Rambler. And Mystic Rambler, I would love to hear when abortion is not acceptable. And I'm talking about going to a doctor. What limitations should be put on them from your worldview if a woman decides she wants to terminate her pregnancy?
Well, me personally, I mean, I would say third trimester abortion should be off the table, but I'm also going to put a caveat on that and say that that's just my personal opinion. And I am going to take a back seat to what the general opinion of what women at large would say here. Like, it's not my body. I think that they should have the stronger voice in this.
You know, G-Man, one of the reasons why this Roe versus Wade even became an issue again in society nowadays, it's because the liberals weren't fine with getting rid of it while it was still a collection of cells, as they like to call it, or a parasite. They kept moving up the time. They started getting to the point where they were actually having philosophical discussions about killing it even after it comes out of the womb. So people started really paying attention to what these clowns were thinking, and it became a serious subject. It had become to a point through the 80s and 90s where people became complacent. Go ahead, do what you're going to do, you sicko. Make the decision that that's what you're going to do. But then they started talking about killing them once they come out of the womb. It was getting real serious, folks. You remember that, Fetal, during the Trump time as well?
Partial
Yeah,
birth
very.
as well.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you reminded me of something that the governor from VA, that thing's Northam, we call him Blackface Northam, and he was talking about, after the baby is born, letting it die, but you know what I mean. But I forget exactly how he said it. Make sure that the baby's comfortable, but then after that, they'll make a decision on whether or not they want to continue to take care of the baby after it's exited the womb, and either let it die or if the parent decides, they want to keep the child, then of course they'll, take care of the child, give it the treatment that they normally do, So I mean, I'm surprised that that's even an option, that he would even say something like that. Yeah, we'll make sure we keep it comfortable. As a matter of fact, if you don't believe that he actually said these words, I can send you a link right now, and you can see him on camera saying those exact words. That make sure that the child is comfortable. And then after that, it's up to the parents if they want to let the child, they want to keep the child and, make the child survive and stuff like that. So, I mean, to me, I find that detestable. That, okay, what if the parent doesn't want the child after birth? Then you just let the child die? You don't try to take moral responsibility and, take care of the child and,
That's
hand the
exactly
child.
what happens, Fetal, in a botched abortion, meaning the injection that is put into the child is supposed to kill him. It's a poison, basically. It's a solution that's supposed to kill it, or him or her, but it doesn't work, and the child fights it off.
Right.
Little systems that he got working for him fights it off, like,
yeah,
and it comes out alive. So they just let it die on the table.
Yeah, that was Obama.
Yeah.
That was
There
Obama.
are some people in here pretending to be GP, and now they're pretending to be Antonio. If Antonio was coming in here, Antonio would have texted me on Skype, and he didn't do it.
Oh,
Jimmy,
I did send a message to Antonio, so that might be him.
Does he go by the name of Tunlock?
Yes.
Okay, so let me, and then after this, Vecco, after I bring him in here, I want to get into Numbers chapter 5 here real quick and destroy the ignorance of these people on how they're trying to say that God condones it. And maybe Todd can come in here and educate us on that little topic too. I bet you he won't do it though.
Todd will not come in here. Todd is a coward. He will not come in here.
All right, I'm going to bounce before you guys get too biblical. It's been fun. I think that I've honestly said everything that I have to say here.
Yeah, I got Antonio in here if that's him.
Good one. Praise Fortuna.
Unless I got a really good impression of the guy, then it's me, man.
Well, Antonio's here. Good. This is going to get better. Now they're really not going to want to come in here. Antonio, the champ, is here.
How have you been, brother? Good to see you.
Well, real quick,
Everything good.
Both of the pro-abortionists left the room, so I just want to say real quick, shout outs to all three that came in, for their boldness to come here and share their opinions and stuff. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, give them an A for effort, but still, you lose. Babies don't get to be murdered. Not today. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And this is why we won the great debate. Keep reminding these people this all the time. And by the way, I'm going to shout out Antonio's channel. If you guys thought this show was interesting and you want to know more about this topic, go check out Antonio's channel. Go check out Antonio Fletcher, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. He is the MVP. Well, one of the MVPs in this community anyway, talking about this topic.
Okay, so now that Tone, now that you're here, Let me ask you a question that was asked by Rambling Mystic. So I'm sure you've heard this scenario 1,000 times because you often talk about this issue. The issue of the 10-year-old that was pregnant. What should be done about this situation, about this 10-year-old girl who's pregnant?
Okay, what you have to understand is that there's a whole lot of ignorance that goes on about this topic in terms of how pregnancy works in general and how abortion is handled in the case of little girls being pregnant and stuff like that. I can tell you that there was a documented case of a story that happened I think almost a century ago, roughly is. I think it was in the 20s or 30s. There was literally a girl who was 5 years old who might have been raped, and she had ended up carrying a child to term, and she had to have a cesarean section done on her. You're talking about a girl that was 5 years old.
Her name's Lena Medina.
Yeah, that's right. That's absolutely right. Now, medical technology has come a long way since then. But you're talking about her having safely delivered this child through the cesarean section surgical procedure. Now, if she was able to do that a long time ago and even grow up to have a healthy life, then what is the likelihood of a 10-year-old being able to do that today, even much more so? Obviously, it's tremendously higher than it was then. Now, this isn't to say that it's necessarily good for girls that age to be pregnant, but it is to say that this idea that pregnancy is going to kill her or take her out or something, it's just nonsensical to think that that's necessarily the case. So what we should do in this situation is just monitor it like any other pregnancy, whether you're dealing with a little girl or a grown woman. You get doctors who are specially trained in this area, and they monitor it carefully as the pregnancy progresses. And in the case that it arises a serious life-threatening situation, you do a surgical procedure such as a cesarean section in order to save her life if required, but you don't go out of the way to take the life of the child. That's not something that you do either. I mean, you don't just go out of the way and say, oh, we got to kill this kid, because I'll tell you something. The later the pregnancy develops, the more likely it's going to be even more dangerous to perform an abortion, because later term procedures take 2 to 3 days to even prepare and do. So it would make no sense to perform an abortion in certain scenarios. And even if you're talking about early term, it still doesn't necessarily make it a good idea, because you're talking about giving her medicine like pills that can have serious side effects. So it's not necessarily safer to talk about abortion for a little girl. Instead, you need to have medical professionals carefully monitor the situation, and if need be, use life-saving medical procedures or whatever is required, just like any other pregnancy. But you don't need to have an abortion to take care of the issue.
I agree. And that was in 1939, Tone, when that happened, with a 5-year-old girl being able to bring a baby to terms. Nowadays, we got all this modern day technology. We've got adoption. There's no excuse.
That's right. Exactly. And I'm putting the link out there for the people that's saying that this show's become what do they call it? A circle jerk or whatever. But the point is that if I make the link available and a lot of these passionate people don't want to come in here, can't make them. You know what I mean? So you're going to hear one side if they don't want to come in here. And they can't say I never gave them the opportunity. And I did bring back in Poltergeisha, but I think she's cooking some food or something, because I can hear that in the background or whatever. But, if you want to come in here, I put the link out there like 5 times.
Something is wrong with that woman over there, because her camera's not frozen. The cat's moving and she slunk over.
No, I don't think she slunk over. I think that's her shirt or something. I don't know.
No, man.
I see her hair in her body.
She slunked over, man. That's her skin. That's her hair.
I better get her off of here, because that ain't good. Let me get her off of here. Hold on.
Does anybody know her? Can anybody call the doctors or something?
Some of the people in the chat do, but I think that's like a shirt or something like that, or a pocketbook she left there, because I can hear somebody in their kitchen doing something with plates, and that sounds like her.
It's
every time I bring her in, I can hear
stuff. Oh man, I hope that lady's okay.
Yeah, I hope she's okay too. I can see her in the background.
She she looked like she was slumped over.
Maybe
But
that's that. What do you call that? MK Ultra stuff or whatever, and her programming went out. I don't know.
Paladin out there says, hopefully it's a frozen screen. It's not. There was a cat walking around on the couch, and over
Yeah.
it there was some animals moving around. So yeah.
So let's go to
there.
the end of the verdict on this. Again, if anybody's watching this and you know that lady, please check on her and make sure that she's okay. We're concerned about her. But I just want to keep this on topic. How do you guys feel about the statement that I made that women should not have the right to have an abortion? Where do you stand, Brett? Where do you stand, Jill, Antonio, and Vekel? What do you guys think of it?
Well, I'm with Jill on it, just because there may be this rare 1% all the time that doesn't give them the legal right or license to kill babies or humans for that matter at all.
Exactly. What about you, Vekel? What's your final verdict on this? What do you think about it?
yeah, what Brett said, I totally agree.
I do too. And what about you, Antonio? Do you have anything to say about this? Should women have do you believe that women have the God-given right or the unalienable right or whatever to go out and have an abortion because they don't want to be a mommy?
Not only do I not believe they don't have the right to do such a thing, but when they talk about it being a right, they can't even establish where that even comes from. Like, I literally had on Clubhouse, if you're familiar with that platform, G-Man. So on Clubhouse for over 100 some days, I think it got to like 150-ish plus days, I was asking the same question for that many days. Where does the right to abortion come from? And for over 150 straight days and counting, not one person can answer that question. Not one. So, a woman has the right to abortion. Says who? Where'd you get that from?
Exactly. Jill, what about you, man? What's your final thing on it?
I agree with everyone here. Also with Clarence Thomas, who basically said that there is no right for an abortion in the Constitution. A black man. It took a black man to save black and white babies.
Yeah, right.
A slave who was a slave 400 years ago. A slave 400 years ago freed, freed the white people in America.
Hey Joe, isn't it amazing how you got these leftards? They're acting so they have their arms up in the air when it comes to racial issues and stuff, inclusivity, equality. We care about black folk and all this other stuff, right? But they'll be the same people to call Clarence Thomas Uncle Tom just because he doesn't share the same political beliefs that they do. Isn't it amazing? These same people are really quick to put on that white hoodie, the white KKK hoodie, and start attacking black people just because they don't hold the same political views, And I love pointing out that hypocrisy of some of these white leftards, man.
It's also very
we got
ironic
GP trying to come in here. I'm gonna bring GP in here in a minute, and then
It's
GP, when you come in, let everybody know that's you. If you don't, I'm gonna kick you out again. Go ahead, Brett.
Well, I was going to say, Vekel, it's also ironic that it was actually liberals who even came up with the concept of abortion in the first place. And they didn't just do it because they cared about the rights of the woman. They did it because they were trying to wipe out an entire race of people. They were doing it to commit genocide. That's how parenthood and abortion and all this stizness started in the first place.
That's right.
Right. Okay, so is that you, GP?
Wakanda forever.
Oh, okay, there you go. So I didn't know that was you. You know my email. You could have told me it was you.
Hopefully that'll be a good movie.
Wait a minute, GP. Count to 5 for me real quick, GP.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, man.
Okay, that's him. So you wanted to talk to Jill and Vekel and all of them. Here's your chance. I'm going to mute my microphone. The topic is whether or not a woman has a right to have an abortion.
You said I want to talk to them. Now, I just had a few questions because, play a little devil's advocate because, what I was saying, it kind of matched up, but it's a difference in what I'm thinking right now. But go ahead.
All right, so go ahead and talk about what you want to talk about. Go ahead. You're in the room. I'm about to take this banner off, so hold on a minute. But go ahead. They're in the room right now while they're here, so go ahead.
I already had plenty of discussions one discussion with Jill Beckle, but I have a question for everybody. I think it was Mr. Ramblins. He came up with a great argument, but Vekel shot it down quick. And I like to know why, because if you look at the statistics, when after the child is born, there's a lot of things that happen within that whole moment. Do you know that the statistics say there's 2.5 million homeless children out there? Now, back when abortion was outlawed, back in the 50s, when there was more family structure, there was less homeless children. So if you want to use that argument against me, absolutely, you're right. But now, since abortion been outlawed, and since the 1980s, there are more single mothers out there. Which, Jill, you had a strong disagreement against single mothers. So there's a lot of single mothers having children, and a lot of them is putting their children into the system. And now these systems is being overflooded with children. So what are your thoughts about? I'm not saying that you should kill the child when they're not born, but what are your thoughts about helping these children, go to families, or help these children grow and not be dangerous or homeless into society?
It sounds like the argument that hunters who hunt deer use. There's
No,
too
I'm just
many
asking. I'm asking an opinion.
Well, I'm serious, GP. I'm just saying it's funny, the similarity. There's too many damn deer. We gotta kill them. They eat too much grass. But go ahead, guys.
It sounds like Margaret Sanger's argument.
Okay, so if you say it like that, if you say it's too much deers and they got to eat all the grass, right? Okay, you say that, right? Let's go to what God do.
The problem.
It's exactly what Margaret Sanger
I'm not saying
hold on.
Oh, wait.
Hold on. How many people's on Earth?
Wait,
dude. My logical opinion.
Wait,
how many people's on Earth?
I'm trying to respond to your question.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not saying that there's not a problem with the system that we got, but at the same time, while acknowledging that there's a problem with the system, when you say there's too many children, how many is too many? Can you put a number on that? Can you quantify that?
You see, that's the problem. You're taking little pieces out the argument. Listen to the whole entirety of the argument.
I asked you a question based on what you said.
You said, and I'm gonna tell you, I never said too many children. I said too many homeless children.
That's still a number. Too many homeless children. Okay.
Okay, so would you like children? Would you prefer children to be homeless?
How many homeless children should there be? Is the question, sir?
It should be none.
It should be none.
I believe it should be none. I believe most children should be raised by families. Would I not agree with that?
Is abortion going to solve? Is making abortion legal?
I'm asking you a question, like you asked me.
Hold on.
Do you agree with that? Yes or no, brother?
No.
Okay, so you agree that it should be homeless children.
If making abortion legal, if that would have solved this issue you say is an issue, then for the past 40 years, 50 years, abortion has been legal and it's gotten worse. So making abortion illegal is not going to help unmarried mothers stop having babies out of wedlock.
Jill, I just said that.
Well, hold on, GP. I don't know. You might be on to something. Maybe we ought to just gather up all the homeless children, put them before a firing squad, and just get that right out of the way, huh?
Now that's taking it to extraordinary. See, this is the mindset of people that's like kind of ignorant. Listen to me carefully. I'm asking if a child's being born into a broken system. How can we take care of the broken system? Because I hear y'all talking about abortion. Oh my God, abortion is okay. Cool. I said that. I gave you the answer, Jill. I said in the 1950s there was less abortions. I said, let's talk about helping these kids in a broken system.
Sure. Okay. All right. So he's just talking about solutions. That's fine. We got
no. So I would like to apologize because y'all over here throwing these crazy ass incentives at me. We should kill the children. We should do that.
GP, you got to let them talk. Go ahead, Jill, and go ahead, Brett and Bethel.
He's first. I thought he was coming in arguing, why abortion should be legal and okay and allowed.
No, I'm not.
Okay, so he's just arguing. Okay, well, or he's asking the question, what should we do? Well, the first thing we need to do is start voting out some of these individuals who have been in our neighborhoods, calling themselves leaders, and politicians calling themselves leaders in our neighborhoods, in the black neighborhood, for example, which is the Democratic Party. Vote them out. Vote them out of office.
It's not a political thing, Jill. It's not a political thing.
So let's put in charge someone. It is a political thing because it's about it comes down to policies. Let's put in someone who has experience, not only experience but success with managing large numbers of peoples. Okay,
Yeah,
so you're not the
Yeah, let's
only
make
one
the
in the
home
black
stronger.
community. In the black community, it's not
There
the
you go, G-Man.
only overpopulated communities. There are
Yeah.
other communities who are
And in order for
overpopulated
us
who
to,
are doing just fine, who don't
and,
have the same issues.
and in order for us to talk about any potential solutions, we got to first understand what the fundamental problem is. And the
Yeah.
fundamental problem is the fact is that people are constantly trying to wage war against the Christian worldview. And
That's right.
why it's led to selfishness. It's led to just people just tossing children away when they don't want them. Now, if people had a more Christian outlook, then this wouldn't be as bad of an issue because you'd have people who would be caring for these children in the way that Christ cares for us. And then you'd have a more stable system. These children would be cared for a lot more. And if these children ended up in the system, it wouldn't be as bad of an issue. It's because you'd have people that care about them and will love them and raise them correctly until they found strong families to adopt them. So
Yeah, I
when
was
people
just
go
gonna
away
say-
from a Christian worldview, it's going to lead to a more broken system. But the very little secret is if people have a system that's centered in the love that Christ has for us, guess what? We wouldn't be talking about how
Give
the
me 2
system is
seconds.
broken. We'd be talking about a system that actually cares for these children until they can find good families. So
All right, we got the lady back now, the one that was arguing for abortion. She's back. Okay.
What we need to do is push a
Give me like
culture.
1 second to give myself some contact.
Yeah, Poulter. Poulter, are you okay? Because we seen you slumped over a little while ago, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, did God strike her dead? What happened over there?
Oh no, sorry. I've got a lot of pets. I just kind of wander off when I need to. I'm here. I'm
All
sorry.
right.
I don't pay that much attention. Let me just get some contact solution. I'm about to die if I don't have some.
I agree with Jill and Mr. Tone Looker and what he was saying about we need to do something about the system. I mean, right now, Beckel, we've got a president that's literally having conversations and shaking hands with thin air on television, folks. This is what we got. We need to get rid of this dopey Dimitri or whatever he is. Get rid of him and put some confidence up there, as Jill was saying.
And this all came to be because they were mad at the previous guy for bad tweets, you know. So come on, man.
Okay, well, fellas, come on. It's not a personal political problem, brother. This is a problem. This is what I believe is the problem with us. You know, a lot of people take it with their political beliefs. I don't really care about your political. I don't really care about nobody's political beliefs, as long as I want somebody that can do the job. That can come in. It could be Biden. It could be Trump. It could be whoever. I just want somebody to come in and be able to do it. Brett, we can't do this, Brett. I sat there quiet, let you talk. We can't do this, brother.
GP though,
we can't. No, hold on. I let y'all talk. Can I finish?
Wait. I wanted to respond to what you said.
Go ahead. My fault. Go ahead. Respond.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. If you want to respond, go ahead, brother. Excuse me.
Well, I was just going to say that we're supposed to be talking about abortion. You kind of slightly switched gears here and started talking about adoption and kids growing up in a.
No, I'm not talking about adoption. I'm talking about after.
Yeah, but you're talking about.
I'm talking about why people consider abortion. I'm just giving you thoughts on why do people consider abortion, because you still got states.
Right. What we're saying is that
we live in a state that
we know why people consider abortion.
We're saying
why people consider abortion because people are
right.
Selfish.
What we're saying is that it's not a moral. There's no moral. There's no way you can morally defend abortion just because you suspect that a child might end up growing up in a.
And I agree with you. I agree with you on that. There's no way anybody can defend abortion morally. Even the women that have abortions, majority of them, I think they say 95% of them go through some type of mental trauma. So there's no way you could defend abortion morally. Not even the women in this room, she could defend abortion.
Trauma. You said they go through.
You already tried.
Huh?
You said they go through.
You already tried.
Okay, hold on. There's no single way in the world that a woman could defend having an abortion.
No, morally. Morally means
no.
like you could defend abortion without any psychological, backlash to it. And if you sit there and tell me that, then you may not, you may not. Have you ever had an abortion before? Because you have. Because I know women that had abortion.
No, I have not.
And
I know women that had abortion and they are mentally
debating this
messed up for.
topic. I've been debating this topic for 22 years, and I've not heard one single good argument for abortion. Not one.
Okay, well, let me spin you a tale. Just an example. I'm probably sure you've heard it before. I have an 11-year-old daughter. I have a 7-year-old daughter.
Mm-hmm.
If they got pregnant, do they deserve an abortion? If somebody raped one of my daughters, can they get an abortion?
What you say? Deserve abortion? You say that as if it's a good thing in that situation.
So, do my daughters deserve to carry those children, or do they deserve to have the right to live the rest of their lives free of those babies?
Now you're gonna put me in a bad position, but I'm all these guys do in the room with myself and Brett. I stand against. I'm sorry, you too. So I if a woman get raped, I'm for her. I want to put. That's why I conflict that, because I would be like, yes, she could, because it's a psychological fuck. Oh my God, it's just horrible.
But the question was directed towards Antonio, though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So let's say what he's got to say. Go ahead, Antonio.
Whoever wants to speak, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll be happy to respond to that. But you seem to assume that there's only one way a woman carries a baby. There's two ways. She carries the baby in her body, and a woman carries a baby in her spirit.
Yeah.
Now, you think getting rid of the baby, if they're young girls, is gonna, get rid of that out of their spirit necessarily? It may get rid of it out of their body, but they can be still burdened with the emotional pain of killing that child. Do you think that's gonna necessarily get rid of that? Absolutely, it's not. Why would you put that on a young girl to deal with?
Well, the thing is,
Man, that's a good point, man. That's a really good point.
Told you, Antonio's the MVP.
But that didn't answer the question.
It's okay. No, that's a good point. That's a very good argument.
No, it is a good point, GP, because what he's talking. See, because the issue is about morality. Okay, if you're going to say that it's moral to kill a baby just because the baby is inside of a 7-year-old, then what about the moral aspect of what might happen as a consequence to that 7-year-old having an abortion? Spiritually speaking. What if they're mentally traumatized for the rest of their lives because of this procedure due to something that somebody apart from them asserted that it was okay for them to have an abortion, which is evil.
Not to mention, thou shalt not kill doesn't go away because of age. I'm going to say this again. Thou shalt not kill, or thou shalt not murder doesn't go away because of age. You still will be judged by God.
Okay, I agree with spiritual.
Hold on a second. And GP, you came in a little bit after Tone brilliantly explained what happened to the 10-year-old and what could be done. Tone, could you talk
about that again? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, all right. Before Tone talk about it, the woman, what she have said in the question she asked, Tone, he answered the question in the fact that he really didn't answer the question. That's why I'm asking, like, if a woman gets raped and she's 7 years old, she's supposed to carry that baby. I'm just saying, like, to me,
he's going to answer
daughter.
right now.
Everybody who have daughters, that's kind of hard to take.
No, GP, he already answered that question before you came in. He's going to answer
that's why he's going to do it again.
All right.
Nobody interrupt Antonio. Let Antonio explain it. Go ahead, Antonio.
Well, here's the thing, though. When the question is phrased in such a way, should she be forced to carry that baby? Now, here's the problem. You're dealing with a girl that's 10 years old, okay? Whatever choice that's going to be made, unless you think she's mature enough to make whatever choice at 10 years old, it's going to be forced. In a sense, like if you make that girl get an abortion, you forced her to get an abortion. If you had her carry the baby to term, then you forced her to carry the term. So if you don't think she's mature enough to make that decision on her own, the result of that is going to be forced however way you look at it. So when people say, oh, should she be forced to carry that baby? Well, that's just going to be the necessary consequence if we're not talking about killing a child in the womb. That's going to be the consequence. We say, should she be forced to do that? Well, you're going to be forcing her to get an abortion if you use that as the remedy in that situation. So should she be forced to carry a baby at that young age? In the sense that we're talking about, we shouldn't do an even as much of an evil as killing a kid as what was done to her as being raped then yes, in that sense.
I think
but that cannot be removed from the context of the greater evil that would be done if you were to kill that baby.
Okay, I get what you're saying. No, I get what you're saying. Now all right, the question should be rephrased like this. That's a broad question she asked. I get what you mean. Should be rephrased like this. If a 7 or a 10-year-old, or she said 7-year-old gets raped, that should be forced. What is the parent's decision? Because that's what it really ultimately comes to, the parent's decision.
I know.
What is the parent's decision? Should the parents allow to have an abortion, or should the parents allow her to carry the child? Because the parents ultimately decide. A 7-year-old can't make a real decision like that. Huh?
I know from the Christian worldview, if somebody who's in the church decides that they want to have an abortion and they say, okay, it's only one time, I'm going to repent and I'm not going to do it again, the question becomes then what stops them from doing it again? And when does that person got to pay for the things that they're doing? Because at the end of the day, at least for those of us that are Christians, thou shalt not kill. It's still thou shalt not kill or thou shalt not murder. That doesn't go away because somebody, was 7 or 10 or whatever, or whatever it was. Murder is murder at the end of the day. As a matter of fact, if this was the Old Testament and we was having this discussion and people had their own different opinions about it, and a person attempted to do something like that, they'll get stoned to death.
Okay, well, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say the average lifespan of the person that you're saving is 70 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
The baby that you saved is going to be 70 years old, and the baby that was terminated is 80 years old and died 10 years before you. Does that equate, or is that still a murder? Did they even out?
Talking about somebody that died 10 years before and lived 10 years longer?
Yes.
Both of them have the right to live.
Do you?
Both of them got the right to live.
But what precedence that?
What person?
Do you believe in gun control? Do you believe in the
I believe in decency and in order. I don't got an issue with somebody owning a gun. I got a problem with somebody having a gun and doing illegal things with it. That's what I got a problem with.
Okay.
Things that they'll do that will be considered unlawful, and things that they will be doing that will harm another person to the point that they're breaking not only man's law but God's law as well too.
I got a question. I just got one question. We all are protectors of our home, us men. So let's say if a guy comes into your house and he's threatening your family. Veckel, you're a family man. I don't know about you, Brett. I don't know about you, brother.
Self-defense.
Man, I know you, but you're a strong protector of your home. This guy comes to your house and he's going in there robbing your house. You catch him and he goes, I'm gonna kill you. And you're able to disarm him, but what you gonna do?
If I could disarm him, then that works for me. And then
if I could disarm him, then, if I could disarm him.
Let's say it gets to the point that he gets a little better of you. What you do? You gonna murder him or you gonna hurt him?
If I'm convinced that he's gonna harm my family, I would do everything in my power to either immobilize him or kill him. Yes.
What does this exactly have to do with a baby that's
so
related
if a
to you
person
that's
feels
not
like
causing
that,
any?
so if
Hold on
a minute, GP. Go ahead,
what
Brett.
does this have to do with an innocent baby? Are you comparing a baby to Rambo that it's going to come out shooting and throwing grenades or something?
No, that's just sick way of thinking, Brett. I was trying to look at it as
going to murder you guys.
if a woman has
if
a woman that's 7 years old gets raped by a man and a parent choose to go, hey, I don't want her to have this baby, because that 5-year-old baby story, that's not no average, pregnancy for a woman. So when y'all telling me,
what 5-year-old
she's one of the
pregnant?
real percentages of a woman that's able to do that at her age.
5-year-old.
What 5-year-old
gets
pregnant?
will either die or they get
GP. Just one
hurt.
second.
What 5-year-old gets pregnant? They're not even fully developed yet.
G-Man, can I ask?
Hold on, Brett King just put something in the
What
chat saying a
5-year-old
5-year-old had a
gets
baby.
Yeah. Well, as far as
happens,
I mean, if you really want me to just come out straight with this, somebody comes in, they mean to do harm to your family. That's a choice they made. That is a decision they made to put themselves in harm's way to be able to come into someone's house and not expect to get their ass owned right then and there. But the child does not have a choice. The baby, where's the baby's choice in all this matter? The baby didn't break in. The baby didn't say, "Oh, I wanted my mother to be raped." Why should the baby be punished because some piece of trash did something ignorant to her?
Why should the baby be punished? The baby's not being punished. You're out of looking out for your child. I'm my 7-year-old child. I'm gonna look out for my child. If the doctors tell me, "Hey, this child is not fully developed to have this baby," I'm gonna look out for my child.
But GP, we've already talked about this before. Again, if it ever came down to it, that a child of 7 years old or 5 even, okay, got pregnant. Okay, Tone already pointed out that, maybe 40 or 50 years ago, today, compared to today, we have way better technology, way better medicinal abilities to take care of women in their pregnancy than we did 40 or 50 years ago. Okay, that's number one. Number two, that doesn't mean that because she's 7, she should automatically have an abortion because she's 7 years old. Okay, we have programs that can help this girl take care of the child, help her through the pregnancy, and even after the baby is born, you either bring the baby up for abortion, adoption, or the family of the little girl can help take care of the child until the 7-year-old is.
We got to talk. Settle down.
Okay, let's hear what you got to say.
I have an 11 and a 7-year-old daughter. And if my 7-year-old daughter was ever torn away from me and violated in such a way that she was carrying a child, I would do everything I could to prevent her from having to carry that baby. She's
carrying a baby's wrong.
Hey,
you notice how
Veckel, do you remember what Jill said before he left the room and all that? He made a great argument before Tone Loc showed up. He said, even if we give you the 1%, though, these extraordinary rare cases of rape and when a person's real young or something's wrong and all this. Okay, let's say that we did all submit to that. Okay, the 1%, they get options on this. So would you concede that the 99% that's done out of convenience should be stopped? It should be illegal? I think Jill made a good point earlier.
Now, do you guys need an example? Do you want to see how tall?
That's another point of this too. There's a lot of appealing to emotion that's going on because. I'm sorry, 1 second. Yeah, I'm sorry, just 1 second. I think there's a lot of appealing to emotion. Okay, so let's just say the worst case scenario: a 5-year-old.
How my 6-year-old and 7-year-old is. You think that this height of a child, of a daughter, should be raped and forced to carry a baby?
Come on, we're not saying that.
Okay. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. These word changes and how you're going about
the baby.
No, that's not what's being said. You people are trying to come in here now and you're just trying to play word games now.
I'm not.
First of all, if I can be blunt, if a 5-year-old child got pregnant because they was raped, first of all, the 5-year-old isn't going to be able to make it. I think we already established this. A 5-year-old is not going to be able to make a decision on whether or not that 5-year-old can have an abortion or not. Because the 5-year-old barely knows left from right. They barely know how to tie their shoes. So you as a parent is going to have to make a decision for them if this happens. Right? Wait a minute. But let's talk about what happened though. Okay, and let's be honest about this. This is when this annoys me. Where I think a lot of you women are severely dishonest about this topic. First of all, the rapist is the one who committed the crime. Okay? The rapist is the one that should be punished. And when I say punished, he should be punished for forcing himself sexually on a 5-year-old child. I personally believe, just let me finish. I personally believe a person like that should get the death penalty. I don't believe in no little 2 years and 3 years of prison. I think they should be put in an electric chair or hung or have their head cut off or something like that. That's how severe I go with that. But what's the crime here? The crime is that he forced himself sexually on a minor. Right. Now check this out. Wait. The minor getting pregnant, the minor having getting pregnant and carrying a baby is not a crime. Okay? The crime is that baby or that child or whatever was forced on sexually. Stop trying to act like that the act of carrying a baby is wrong. But then you're going to say that, oh, so you're trying to say that that this person should be forced to carry a baby that this person this person never asked for or ever wanted. That's what you're going to try to argue, right?
Hey,
No, I will argue
G-Man.
like the Bible in the Old Testament, and I do this with no shame. That man should be severely punished. All of his earthly and worldly possessions should be taken away from him, and it should be given to that child. You know what I mean? To be able to handle the take care of the child or whatever. And then after that, that man should be executed. Anyway, go ahead, Brent.
Well, I was gonna pull something on Poulter. I want to throw your same question that you asked us right back at you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's say you take your teenager or young daughter to the doctors and say, would she be able to have a child? Would this kill her? Would this cause harm? Doctor says no. There's been children all the way back to 5 years old. One happened in 1939. Your daughter will be able to do this. A terrible experience she went through, but yeah, she could go through with the baby. Now that you know this and have the knowledge that the baby can make it and your daughter will make it, maybe she'll need therapy or whatever help she needs, but you know the baby can come out healthy. What will you do now? What is your choice?
Okay, so let me reestablish your premise, right? You're saying that my daughter needs to carry a child based upon an ancestral ability to carry children, to carry violent beings without dying, right? You said
Violent beings?
something? Well, she said 1930 something, so I'm just rolling with
1939, yes, a 5-year-old was able to carry through. The question I had for you is, your doctor tells you that your daughter will be fine. The baby will be fine as she goes through with this. If there is any issues later on, then they'll do a C-section, but there's a 80 to 90% high probability the baby as well as your daughter will be healthy. Knowing that the baby's going to be fine, knowing that your daughter's going to be fine, even though this terrible event happened, what do you do?
When were you last 11 years old? When were you last 12?
That was a while back. Oof, that's rough.
I have an 11-year-old right now.
Can you do me a favor? Can you answer my question? And then if you want to throw out some more crazy alien stuff at me, I'm more than happy to respond to anything.
I don't think that's alien. I think that's completely related to your question.
He doesn't want
to answer based on what you're asking.
Well, I'm asking you.
You're not going to know what the question he's asking you.
You
You
guys
would never make a medical
you guys
decision
do realize.
based on-
Hold on, Poulter. You guys
Okay.
do realize that you can't just go to get an abortion. There has to be a conversation. The doctor's going to tell you if the baby's healthy or all these things before you even do this. So you're going to find out. This is not a hypothetical. This is something that will actually happen in the medical field. You are told the baby will be fine. Your daughter will be fine. Now it's your choice to take a very healthy fetus and kill it, a baby, even though you know it's going to be okay. What will you do?
You're asking me to weigh a child I don't know against a child that I've loved since the day that she was conceived.
So what the question is, your 7-year-old is pregnant. You go to the doctor.
Oh my God, if my 7-year-old was pregnant?
No, it's a hypothetical, obviously, but the 7-year-old is pregnant. You both go to the doctor. The doctor says that both the child and your daughter that's pregnant, your 7-year-old daughter that's pregnant, will be fine and are fine. What are your thoughts next? Should she keep the baby?
My thoughts are that my 7-year-old should never have to bear the burden of being a mother at 7. Are you serious? I was a mother at 20.
Well, who says she's doing it by herself? You're her mother. You wouldn't help her?
She is no. I
What?
alone.
You wouldn't help your daughter with
No.
this shit?
I will be there to help her. Relax. Settle down. Here's what I'm saying. No matter how many people are there to help you, as a woman, your body carries that burden alone. That little 7-year-old or 11-year-old or 12-year-old or whatever, idea you're stating is going to have to do that alone. They grow them and they birth them.
Well,
You've never been there, dude. It's not the same.
Any tough medical situation, is in a sense dealt with alone. If you're talking
Yeah, I
about
don't
the
disagree
person,
with that.
and if you're
Agreed.
talking about the person dealing with it, I mean, you can have young kids with tumors, okay, and they will have to deal with those too. I mean, I don't really know what your point is, other than you're just saying that there's a medical procedure that she's going to have to deal with until the baby comes out.
But why is that different? Why is that different to you?
The difference is that you know that the daughter's going to be okay in the question. You know that the baby will be okay as long as you do not make the choice to have it killed. The point is everybody's okay. Sadly, some unfortunate event has happened. There may be a psychiatry therapy involved, but now it's your choice. Do you want to destroy this baby because of something that happened to your daughter?
How many kids are sitting around in adoption or in foster care right now? Do you have?
Well,
do
me,
you know?
I went to many foster cares, folks. I don't know if you knew that, but I actually was raised up in the system. I went through foster care after foster care, and ironically, they were all religious based. Never been in an atheist foster home before. I wonder why that is. But continue on, Poulter. What you got for me?
Yeah,
Just
and here's another issue. Even if you want to put forth abortion as the remedy in this situation, you still got some questions you need to answer. When people put forth this scenario, I just ask them one question: how long? And here's what I mean when I say how long. If you're going to put forth abortion as a remedy in this situation for this little girl, how long do you think she should be able to make that decision, or you should make that decision, or whatever? 3 months, 6 months? Almost.
How long I should make the decision for my 7-year-old to have an abortion?
Yeah, if she conceives and rape, how long do you think she should have to get the abortion?
If my
is there
7-year-old
any
was
limit or
raped,
not?
I would drive her to a clinic the day after it happened, after I fucking stabbed the dude that did it.
Okay, so immediately.
Yeah,
Now,
pretty much right away.
all right. So do you think there's a problem if, let's say, another parent in the same situation waits until 3 or 6 or 5, 3 or 6 months or whatever?
I don't have a problem with that.
Oh, okay, so the parent decides the limitation, right?
So can I ask you something? Just
Well, hold on. No, just answer my question.
I'm not. Go ahead.
So the parent decides the limitation in your view.
No.
Well, yes, they do, because you said if another. Hold on, wait. You said if another parent in that same situation wants to make the decision at 3 or 6 months, they can make that decision, correct?
Yes, but my question is,
right.
Where
that
do
means
you
the
feel that
parent
science?
Hold
on.
No.
I'm not trying to start a fight. I just want to ask.
No,
When do you
I'm
think
asking.
this?
Wait. I'm asking you this for a reason, though, because
Go ahead.
If you believe the parents decide the limitation,
I didn't say that, but I just said that was their choice. But when do you think that?
Wait a minute. Okay, so either the parents decide the limitation or someone else does. Who does?
I said that they chose that time. I didn't say that they decided that was the time.
That's what I'm asking you. Who decides the limitation for this girl in this situation?
What do you think the time should be?
Brother Tone, I gotta
question.
brother Tone, I gotta point out something to you. I don't know if you've seen earlier.
Answering my question.
I know.
Who decides the limitation?
Well, I mean, you could base that on science, or you could base that on religion. What do you think is best?
Okay, I'm asking you precisely. Does the child decide? Does the parents decide? The doctors? Who decides the limitation of how long a girl that's raped that young can get an abortion? Who decides?
I think that depends on the circumstance. I think that it depends on what is safest for the mother and for the baby, and for what she wants for her life.
So, what she wants for her life. So the little girl decides. Is that what you're saying?
Bro, she's saying that the parent decide. Brother, she's saying the parent decides.
Oh, the parents of the little girl decides.
And Tone, I was wondering.
She said she drives a
and
child to the abortion thing.
You both may not know this, but this woman that we're talking to, she passed out earlier on the screen, and she was out for quite a while. Guys, if you're not feeling well or you're having some kind of issue over there, I don't want you to put yourself in some kind of problem. Maybe you need some sleep. I don't know how long you've been up or if you've been drinking or something, but
not to mention some of them people that supporting you in the live chat need to come in here and do this for you because they were talking a big game before I started this show. Maybe they should come in here and do the talking for you.
Guys, do you need some sleep? I mean, we don't mind having a discussion with you, and Tone's got some great points, but I don't want to see you slump over again like that, fall unconscious.
I didn't settle down because I was on drugs or anything. I had to get up at 5 a.m. yesterday. Sorry about that. I'm fine.
Well, you
Please
gotta
don't-
get yourself some more sleep, ma'am.
I'm okay. Come at me.
All right.
Okay, so.
But I do appreciate that accusation. It's very cute. I love it a lot.
Well, I didn't know if you didn't get enough sleep or what it was. I've had plenty of people come into my room, boxed out on drugs. It is what it is. Go ahead, Tom.
I have not been drugs in my entire life.
Anyway,
Come on.
So the
Let's
parent-
roll, big boys.
So the parent decides the limitation, in your view, yes or no?
Say again?
The parent decides the decision or how long or whatever the limitation is, yes or no? Girls
Well,
rape.
the fact of the matter is, I don't know if you know this, but babies grow inside of mothers. So
know
mothers
that.
kind of get to choose what grows inside of their bodies.
Well, the mother is the little girl. Do you think she's mature enough to make that choice at 10?
I don't think that she should be forced to grow a baby.
That's not why I asked you. Do you think a
Speaking
10-year-old is mature enough to make the decision to abort or not at that age?
I don't think she should have been forced enough to make that decision.
I didn't ask you that. Do you think she's mature enough to make that decision at that age?
No, but if she's not, then it's onto her parents. They get to
That's
decide.
right. Thank you. So the parents decide. So if a parent decides that the limit is conception in that case, then what problem do you have with that?
That I value young women and their right
So
to
they don't.
consent.
So if a parent decides that they're not going to have this child aborted on their daughter, are you saying that they're doing something wrong?
I don't think that young women should be forced to.
That's not why I asked you. If
Sorry,
a parent
I'm sorry. Say
says,
again.
if a parent says no, I'm not going to have my daughter abort this baby in her body, even though a horrible situation happened, or is that parent that makes that decision wrong in your view?
Yes, I do think that they are.
And why is that?
Because that young woman is being forced to carry something beyond her consent.
But guess what? If you say she's not mature enough to handle the decision, you're forcing her to abort if you make that decision too. So either way, you're forcing her to do something.
So either way, you're saying that she is.
Either way, you're forcing a decision upon what happens in her body. You're forcing a decision either way.
But
Yes?
what you're saying is that she's a subject to someone else's consent, and your choice is that she relegates her body to someone else that decides that she's going to carry someone else's life in her body for 9 months and then
who are
deliver and
10
care for that child.
Children who are 10 are not mature enough to decide their own medical procedures.
Yeah, well, they also
Yeah, we
shouldn't
can all
decide who
recognize
rapes them.
I
Wait a minute.
recognize that. But
Wait
again,
a minute.
You're not dealing with the issue at all I'm asking you about. You keep on going to these side issues.
But that's what the issue is. A girl doesn't become pregnant if someone doesn't fuck them.
But
right?
you're not dealing
Well,
with
wait a minute, Antonio. Let me say something real quick, Antonio. But that's your real problem, man. That's your real problem right there. You don't want a rape victim to be quote unquote forced to carry a baby. This has nothing to do with the woman being violated or anything like that. A man forcing himself on her or anything like that. You just don't want. You just don't think a woman should be allowed. I'm sorry. That is wrong for a woman to carry something in her that she didn't ask for. That's your big thing. It has nothing to do with the fact that she's been assaulted or anything like that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And when you really get down to the nuts and bolts, that's what that's all about. And this is why I say that right should not be given to you guys.
And again,
You know what I mean? Because there's other ways of dealing with it. Again, incite bring the death penalty, make laws that will strengthen the home where you won't have all of this poverty and all this stuff that's going on. Make stricter laws regarding how you raise your children. There's a lot of other things you can do. But abortion shouldn't be on top of the list. Abortion, in my opinion, abortion shouldn't be on the list at all.
Yeah. And once again, you're not dealing with what I'm asking you. Either way, the decision is going to be forced if the child does not have the maturity to make the decision. Either an abortion is going to be forced or childbirth is going to be forced. But it seems like you don't want to deal with the fact that abortion is going to be forced, because when the force is going back towards your way, you don't want to deal with that. Oh, you just try to keep the heat on the pro-life. Oh, you're forcing her to have a baby, or you're forcing her to get an abortion. And that's better in your view?
No one's forcing anyone to get an abortion.
Yes,
So
they
no.
are. If the parents decide, yes, they are. Because the child isn't deciding. The parents are. You just admitted that.
When? Tell me.
You said the
when did
parent
it-
makes the decision. Did you not?
I said that they made the decision, but I didn't say that anyone was forced to make that decision.
Come on, guys. So you know what he's talking about. You know damn well. If your hypothetical were true that something happened to one of your young teenagers, it would be your decision on what has to be done on this, because you're the parent. You're the one that has to write out the procedure.
The point is the child doesn't have the free will to make the decision on their own. It's the parent making it for them. That's what I mean by force.
Okay.
Now, under that rubric, do you not see how it follows that if you decide abortion for her, you're forcing her to have an abortion?
Okay. Well, let's take it back to an age of consent. I'm 33 years old. I will fully admit that. What if I got pregnant and I don't have access to birth control? Do I have the right to abortion?
In my view,
Or should I have to carry that baby?
Carry the baby, raise the baby, and learn that if you don't want to be a mother, to be careful when you're having sex or don't have sex at all. That's what I would say, and I preach that to the top of the
It's kinda
mountain.
simple too, isn't it? Though,
G-Man?
G-Man, one just keeps their
G-Man?
legs closed.
I
at
have
33 years
two
old.
daughters. Okay.
Well, look,
I
if you
keep my
Be that in
legs
sex, you
closed.
might have a third
look,
one.
Look, if you lived on some uncharted island somewhere and there was no laws in that country or anything like, or in that landmass or whatever you're on, if you wanted to just take a baby that you have with you and just leave it on the beach someplace and go off about your merry business, just because there's no government like breathing down your throat or whatever, doesn't mean you have a right to do that. Yeah, you can say, I can walk away right now. You don't have a right to do that because that you have a moral obligation to that child's well-being. And I see abortion the same. You don't have a right to kill a baby because it may inconvenience you in some way.
Because I was asleep when someone wanted to have sex with me? Is that my obligation? Is that what that is?
Well, here's the problem though. There are already laws that restrict abortion late term. And even if someone's raped, those laws still apply. Unless you think there should be, maximal abortions allowed at even 6, 7, or 8 months during rape. Do you believe that?
I believe that people should have exceptions for when they are forced to carry a child they didn't.
Yeah.
want.
Let's say someone gets kidnapped. The woman gets kidnapped, right? And she's sexually assaulted and molested by this bastard piece of garbage. Now, he gets her impregnated and she breaks away, let's say, at 7 months. She could not get an abortion, but now she's stuck with this baby that she could not abort prior. Do you believe she should have the choice to abort at 7 months?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you believe she should be able to kill a baby that's even viable outside the womb. If she delivered prematurely, that baby will be able to live with the current medical technology. You believe she should be able to kill that baby?
Yes, because I believe that she has more rights than the child that she was forced to carry.
But if another woman at the same stage had that child prematurely, if that child was outside the womb, you wouldn't think it would be right to kill that child once outside the womb, do you?
If the woman wanted that child and she...
No, let's say she didn't want the child. And for whatever reason, they had to deliver early due to complications or whatever? Should they be able to kill the baby once outside the body prematurely at 7 months?
Then I don't think that baby has any more rights than the mother.
So I'm saying she didn't want the child, but for whatever reason, she had to deliver prematurely because of complications. Should they be able to kill the baby at 7 months?
Yes.
Even outside the womb?
Yeah.
Wow. Now we know what your real position is. Basically, it doesn't matter whether the child is born or not. If the mother doesn't want it, children deserve to die by somebody's hand if the mother doesn't want it. Now we know what your real position is, and I appreciate you being honest.
Tom, can I ask you a question? Just as curiosity. How many kids do you have?
I don't have any kids yet.
So, where do you have any position to talk about people's kids?
The same. Well, I've never had any kids sexually trafficked. Can I say sex trafficking is wrong?
Do you have a spouse or a girlfriend or anything?
No, you didn't listen to what I said. Can you focus on what I'm saying to you? Follow along.
Please do.
Now,
go ahead.
I've never had any kids, and no kids I've ever had have been sex trafficked. Do I have a right to speak against sex trafficking?
No, I would assume.
Wow. So people have to have kids before they can say something against more wrongs like sex trafficking. Are you serious?
No. Everyone can speak on their own opinions. I don't fault you for that. But my point
is, can someone have a justified opinion against sex trafficking even if they don't have kids themselves?
But you seem to think that women...
You're not answering my question. Can someone have a justified opinion against sex trafficking, even if they don't have kids themselves?
Hold steady, love. I'm gonna get there. Okay, I'm not trying to default you.
Okay, go ahead.
Rest. I will get there. My point is, you never carried a baby for 9 to 10 months in your body, right?
That's correct.
And as a result, regardless of how many children you've procreated, which is totally fine, you didn't birth them. You didn't bring them into the world.
I only decided to follow the Christian frame of reference, and I'll say this with no shame whatsoever. I'm 36 years old. I'm still a virgin. Why? Because I decided to follow what the Bible says about these matters. Now, I understand.
By the way, Antonio, congratulations about that. But go ahead.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. But I understand there are situations where rape happens, and we should take those cases seriously. But I don't understand why the issue or the solution is kill the baby. I don't understand why that's the solution. Because killing a baby does not necessarily not only does it not get rid of the scars of rape at all, but you're dealing with something potentially even worse. You're dealing with a woman that may very well regret that decision, and guess what? She cannot bring that baby back at that point. You would have a woman deal with all that in the name of choice. And how does that make you look? You want to talk about how it makes us look to be against it. How would it make you look to have either a child at 10 who aborts when she's raped, or a woman deal with that potential scenario? She cannot come back from that.
All right, let me ask this question.
Give me one second.
Let me ask this question, folks. And ladies. I've been listening. What okay, I understand where she's coming from. You're not a parent per se, as in having children, but yes, you have a right to talk about any issue you want. That's hands down. But my logic is this: if you do have a daughter, because I have a daughter, and that's why I asked Vecco this question too. If you did have a daughter, or if you did have children, you as a parent, it would be a different mindset that you inherited. Right now, you don't have the type of mindset I have when it comes to children. You're looking at it from the outside view more. So my mindset, if my daughter right now, even my 15-year-old daughter, if she gets pregnant by rape or something, even though she has the moral ground to make her own decision, as a parent, it still plays a part on me also. So I can understand where she's coming from because that's her mindset on this thing. She's a parent, so she's going through this. Even though she haven't experienced a rape, she's still going through, especially a woman, the psychological, trauma that comes with it because she's a mother and she's as women, they are more nurturing than men. So that is basically what she's trying to say. Am I saying it right? I don't want to put words in your mouth. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Geisha? Hello?
It's poltergeist, I love.
Okay, poltergeist. I don't want to put words in your mouth. If that's where, that's pretty much where you was coming from when you met, or you're a parent.
I'll tell you this. I know parents who are parents who will tell you the exact same thing I'll say. Now, I'm not saying that being a parent doesn't give you a certain level of credibility in this conversation. It obviously does. But it doesn't necessarily mean you're right or wrong just because you may or may not be a parent. But what if you came across a parent that literally said the same thing I did? What would you say to them?
I'm sorry, what you said? I can't hear the last part.
I'm asking her if she came across a parent that said the exact same thing that I did, more or less word for word, what would she say to them?
Well, let me have.
Speak your truth. I'm here. Hold on. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Do you work for Miss Parker at all, Poltergeisha?
Not at all.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right.
You tell me everything you want to hear, and I'll tell you what I think.
Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure because, because Miss Parker, anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
Repeat your stance, and I will tell you everything you want me to tell you.
I don't want you to tell me anything. I just want to change your mind, and hopefully after today, you'll understand why we Christians are, why I, Antonio, I think GP, and some other people are saying that women shouldn't have the right to have an abortion. It's just barbaric and disgusting, and there's other ways of dealing with these matters. And it's just sad that people think that's the only way to deal with things.
Now, let me correct you on that. I do have a strong opinion against abortion, but I do recognize certain situations, since I'm a father, that I will be more inclined to go with it. So, yes, I have a strong opinion against it as a Christian man, but in certain circumstances, I'm sorry, I would definitely be more inclined to go with abortion.
So me and Antonio basically are telling you that you don't have the right to have an abortion. Anyway, go ahead, Antonio.
Yeah, GP, name me one situation where it's okay to brutalize a baby in the womb, ripping the baby limb from limb, cutting off fingers and toes and everything else. Name me one situation where that's okay.
See, you're talking about when the baby is is more developed, the body's developed.
Wait a minute, it changes because the baby's
no.
bigger than
I'm
you?
not saying. See, now look, you're assuming. You're throwing.
No, I didn't assume. I asked you a question.
So let me finish and answer your question. So let me finish and answer your question. Don't jump in when I'm answering your question because that's not going to get nowhere. You're not going to get your answer. So if my daughter gets raped tomorrow and she goes, Dad, I don't want this inside me, and we definitely going to handle that. And I don't care how you feel, how anybody else feel. And maybe it's just my son that I'm gonna be in the hellfire for. So be it. But
and you think that's wise?
Yeah.
You think that's wise?
Family, yeah. You ain't gonna say that when you're there.
When it comes to my family,
it's easy
when it
to sit
comes
right here
to my
like
family
that
as
now.
a man, when it comes to my family as a man, I am the protector of them. So if something happens like that, I am going to go and make sure my daughter is okay. And I'm gonna give you another example. If the doctor tells my daughter, if the doctor tells my daughter,
he's talking out of his butt right now. That's what he's doing. Because I can go to Bible verse to prove that's wrong.
Y'all both is trying to attack me. Why don't you just be quiet and listen to examples I give? Then you could attack it.
Okay, so go ahead and give your examples on why you would go to the lake of fire.
So the
Why you would go to the lake of fire?
the second example I'm gonna give is if the doctor tells my daughter, "Hey, if you have this child, you may die," and she goes, "Dad, I don't want to die, and this and this and this, and I want to have an abortion." Go ahead. So,
okay, so Antonio, let me answer this, Antonio. Let me answer this, Antonio. Antonio, I'm sorry. One second, because I don't want to let that one fly by. I want everybody to listen to what he just got finished saying. Anything, basically, there's no doubt in anyone's mind that he loves his daughter. You know what I mean? And in those scenarios, he would rather, make sure he takes his daughter to the hospital and have that procedure done because he doesn't want that thing that's in her to be, to carry around. There's a couple of problems I got with that. The first thing I got is what the heck do you mean by this thing that's in you? That is a human life that is in her. That is number one. Number two, never one time, and this is why I did let you finish. Don't get mad at me, GP. Do not get mad at me. Not one time out of your mouth did you talk about consulting God, Jesus Christ, reading the Bible, or anything like that about before you make a decision. You just said, "It's my daughter, and this is what I'm gonna do, and I don't care what God, other human beings got to say. I don't care what my pastor say. I don't care about what none of them people got to say. I'm getting on you because you just said you're a Christian, right? And there's a problem with that because that's not love. That's selfishness.
Exactly, G-Man.
That's you thinking about you, yourself, and you, and not thinking about the things of God. Go ahead, Antonio.
I never heard of a Christian in my life said they would be okay with eternal hellfire. Not one.
I ain't okay with that. Heck no.
As I said before, and I'm gonna say it again, if that leads me to eternal hellfire, so be it. I'm comfortable with myself. I don't want to go to the hellfire, but hey, if me making sure the daughter that I raise is okay and good, then so be it. For guys
wait a minute.
that's telling
Who said
me
that your daughter's
about
okay and
my
good?
child, about what should I do, not my child, but say what should a father do with his daughter?
Who
Y'all
said?
don't have the mindset.
Who said that
because
your
you
daughter
don't
is
have
good? Wait a minute.
I don't
You're not the
understand
only
what we
one going
talking
to
about.
hell. Wait a minute. Hold on a minute.
I could be talking
You
out the
clearly
flesh.
don't know what the Bible says.
I could be talking out the flesh, but I'm
Hold on a
telling you
minute.
my
Hold
stance.
on a minute. I will remove you to be able to say what I got to say. Listen, okay? Not only are you saying that you would support the murder of this baby, but then you're okay with your daughter being okay with the murder of this baby. So it ain't just you. So hold on a minute. Romans 3:23, for all have sinned, has fallen short of the glory of God, and that the wages of our sin is death. You're telling me that you don't care what God thinks, you don't care what Christ thinks, you don't care what the church thinks, and all you care about is your precious daughter, in which you really don't, because you're encouraging her to murder, and you know that's a sin. Two wrongs ain't making a right in that particular matter, and you're encouraging it to happen. Not only are you going to the lake of fire, but your daughter's going with you.
Exactly. And not only that, let's just say potentially she repents for that decision. Then you'd be going to the lake of fire by yourself, sir. And you say, well, as long as she's okay.
Sir.
You don't necessarily know that she's gonna be okay with that decision. She could very well, sir, she could very well regret that decision being made. You don't know that she's gonna be okay with that.
So for one, both of you are wrong. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you why both of you are wrong.
Hold on. Stop.
GP, everyone else, shut the hell up for just 2 seconds.
Wait. I gotta ask him a question. Do you know necessarily? Notice how I asked you the question. Do you know that necessarily your daughter's going to be okay with that? Do you know that she's not going to regret that decision made for her? She's raped.
It plays both ways. She could regret that decision. She could regret the decision of having a child. What you're saying is semantics. It could either be either way. It don't have to be directly one way.
No, you say you want to make sure she's good.
I say whatever decision she makes, if she's in the moral background to make a decision, whatever decision she makes after having that brutally sexual, oh my God, happen to her.
Oh yeah, sexual assault is the worst thing that can happen to her.
That's me. Now,
sexual assault is not the worst thing that can happen to a woman.
I could listen. I could make a worldly mistake like that out of the flesh and still repent later for it.
Absolutely.
Okay, then so what you're saying right now makes no sense to me about not going to the hellfire. I'm telling you as a father, that's my stance.
that would
That's
totally
why-
contradict this point.
That's
that you
why I
made
said
right here,
I am
though.
conflicted. That's why would you see you don't
So
you
you
don't
know
listen to
it's
the
wrong.
words.
So you know
DP.
it's wrong. So
I
you
am
know it's
conflicted
wrong.
on that.
So you know
Hey,
it's wrong.
hey,
There
GP,
would
let
be
me
no
ask you a question,
sir,
GP.
There would be no conflict if it wasn't wrong.
Yeah,
You know
so
this.
Antonio, let me ask you a question, Antonio. Which sin is worse, a rape or murder in the Bible? What has God punished the most severe in the Bible? Was it rape or murder? We both know it's murder, right? So basically, what's going to happen is his daughter's going to, in this hypothetical that we're using, is that his daughter is going to be violated. She's going to be, she's going to get pregnant, and now he has some decisions to make. He says, okay, we're going to terminate. I mean, after we go after this guy legally and everything, well, before we go after this guy legally and everything, we ain't praying, we ain't talking to God, we ain't going by the scripture or nothing like that. We're going to terminate the pregnancy. So now you got a rapist that's guilty of raping his daughter, but now you become an enemy of God, GP, because now you're advocating for murder.
It's the
You
same
never
way
sought
as
God's
somebody
face in
coming
that
coming
scenario.
in your house. It's somebody coming in your house while you sleeping, and you know they're the enemy. You know you don't know them, and you get up and kill and shoot them and die, and then that's murder too. That's the same
Yes,
exact
it is.
way.
Yes, it is. It's called self-defense.
Murder is murder, brother.
No, actually, it's killing.
Murder is
It's killing.
murder.
In America, it's called killing. Self-defense.
In the Bible, murder is murder. Thou shall not kill. Is thou shall not kill. It don't say thou shall not kill, but the exception of this situation, this circumstance. So don't sit here and tell me this, brother.
Sir, the
GP.
original Hebrew in Exodus 20:13 translates that to murder. And killing and murder are not the same thing by any stretch of the imagination. Murder is unjust killing outside of God's law. And there is no law that allows you to kill an innocent child in the womb in God's law. None.
None. Even
By the way,
though
ma'am,
we're
I'm sorry, ma'am, Paula Gisha, I think your name is.
My name is
Apparently, this guy in the live chat named Lubis thinks that the worst possible thing that can happen to a woman is for her to be raped. Please tell me you don't believe that.
No, I think the worst possible thing that could happen to a person is to die.
Well, because I mean, I could bring up the concentration camps, I could bring up the Iron Maidens, I could bring up a lot of gory stuff that I think is a lot worse that can happen to somebody. But for some reason, this Lubis, you know, the sister guy or whatever, you know, the guy who lives in his sister's house or whatever, doesn't understand that there's a lot more gruesome crimes out there than someone forcing themselves on you sexually. And Lubis, if you're watching this, Lubis, bring your cowardly behind in this room next time so we can educate you on this.
I have not been watching,
Because
admittedly, but I'm just
people with the right emotional support, even in the horrific case of rape, can live on. They can
That is not
live
true.
on.
That is not true,
Wait,
brother. I studied psychology. I'm about to get my master's psychology. That is not true, sir.
I said with the right emotional support.
That is not true, sir. I'm telling you right now, as a psychology major, that is not
You
true.
are not reasoning like a Christian at all.
No,
You're not reasoning like a Christian.
because you're throwing out these facts. That's not true,
You are
brother.
not- You are not reasoning at all like a Christian.
No, you know why? Because you know why? You know what it is? Because I'm
You can tell me
attacking.
so emotional out though.
I am attacking. No. I am attacking what you perceive to be the truth, and I'm telling you this is not the truth. So now you're going to
Your
attack
words
my
are
Christianity.
not based
I don't
on
really
any
care
biblical
about that.
context.
But I don't.
Don't call yourself a Christian, damn it. Don't call yourself a Christian.
I don't want the misinformation to go out there.
Then don't call yourself a
Please,
Christian.
please do not put the misinformation out there.
If you don't want to think about this bit, hold on.
I don't want you to use the emotional.
Oh, all right. Paula Gisha, go ahead. Go ahead, Paula. DP, we'll talk later. Go ahead, Paula Gisha.
Tom Luck. The fact of the matter is, we don't have to agree. I don't have to be a Christian, and you don't have to be whatever I am.
What are you, by the way?
That's not even.
Atheist mostly.
You're an atheist?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Are you an atheist and coming into my room talking about morality? Are you serious?
Well, yeah, but I still think that morality exists beyond the
beyond this.
You made a mistake with that one, but you know what? I'll give you a pass today. Go ahead and say what you're saying. I won't even ask you the most basic question regarding that, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
Look, my thing is, it's not about us disagreeing. I was talking specifically about another gentleman who claimed that he was a Christian. Now, I don't like the stance he's taking at all. But you can take that stance, but don't take that stance and consistently call yourself a Christian at the same time. Absolutely not, because nothing he's saying is biblical. That's what I have a problem with. If you want to take the stance that you would choose abortion for your red little girl, then fine, but don't call yourself a Christian simultaneously doing it.
But my question is,
Right.
it doesn't matter if you think that abortion is okay for one person. It's the fact that it's okay for one person or no persons.
If you think something is morally reprehensible, you wouldn't think it's okay for anyone.
Agreed.
Do you think slavery, as how it was carried out in Kunta Kinte colonialism, do you think that's morally reprehensible?
Absolutely, yes. It's morally
All right.
reprehensible.
Guess what? I see abortions the same way. Killing a child is the same thing in my book.
Can I ask you why?
Because you're violating an entity that's made in the image of God. That's why.
But where do you cite that?
And I cite that in Exodus 20:13, thou shalt not murder. Period.
Okay. Can I ask you a question? And this is not biblical, so I know I'm going to go off the book, and you can tell me I'm a piece of
By
crap.
the way, ma'am, I know earlier you said you was atheist. I strongly recommend you get a different worldview if you're going to talk about this topic.
I know.
I strongly recommend it. All right,
I
because you have no
understand.
basis to call anything right or wrong. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
I know. It's okay, Mr. It's okay, G. I get it. I know that you think that I am a terrible human being.
No. I didn't say that,
It's
ma'am.
okay. I know.
Ma'am, I did not say that. I just said this. This is what I said. Okay, I don't know you. It's my first time talking to you. All I said to you is that atheists do not have a basis for morality. They do not know. They can't definitively define what is right and what is wrong. They can't do it.
That's fine. I accept that.
And if you're an atheist, that applies to you too.
Okay, bring me in. I'm ready.
I would just ask you a simple question. Where does the right to abortion come from?
I'd love to know
Okay.
that.
Here's my question. Just a small one. It might
Because
be
it's not your body, it's God's body.
Yeah,
No.
go ahead. What's your question?
God does not have any more right to my body over a child's body.
Where'd you get that from?
Where did you get yours from?
Okay, so you're going to make a claim and not back it up. If you're going to make a claim, then at least back it up. Where'd you get that from, what you just said?
Well, you said that children have more right to my body than I do. Where's that right from?
Okay, I establish anything I say, given a Christian worldview. You're going to have to stand on some sort of worldview to ground any statement that you make, okay? If you're going to say that God does not have a right, where do you get that from? What worldview are you standing on?
I mean, if you really want me to use it, I could pull the Satanic Bible's point of view.
Okay,
That
so
everyone has
basically,
the autonomy of their own body.
yeah.
I'm going to use
so-
that one.
Yeah. So you're standing on a faulty worldview, essentially, that anyone can use to even justify rape too, right? You can use the Satanic worldview to justify rape, can't you?
No, I can use the Satanic Bible to.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, explain. I'm
Okay.
curious. Please help me.
Oh, because the very precepts of the text promote autonomy, and there's nothing within the text that precludes anything like rape whatsoever. I've literally
Hold
taught.
on. Let me pull up the internet here, and we'll just make sure.
No, you know what?
Oh, you
we've
don't
been
like
doing
the
this for
internet,
over
huh?
3 hours now. No, we've been doing this for 3 hours now. Poltergeisha, listen to me. Antonio has been, like I said, he's like he said earlier, he's been debating this for 22 years. Why don't you go to his YouTube channel and have a one-on-one discussion with him?
Yeah, I'll be more than happy to do this at any time you want.
You can have a one-on-one discussion with him. He's very fair. You let him know how much time you want to speak. You can watch his channel and see what I'm talking about. And then what you can do is you can have this discussion on his channel, and hopefully he can talk you out of this mindset. Because having children is a wonderful thing. I understand the 1% arguments and everything and whatnot, but we made our case. You made your case. Why don't you go to his YouTube channel and have a one-on-one with him after you get some sleep?
And I decide that I want to carry other people's babies. Is that what you want me to do?
I would like for you to have a one-on-one conversation with Antonio. I ain't said nothing like that. I said that to have a one-on-one conversation with Antonio. If you want to talk about the psychological trauma of being raped, and what it does to people. If you want to do that specifically, we can do that if you want. But if we're going to talk about like whether or not you should murder the baby because of something that somebody else did, I just don't agree with you on that one. And it's sad that you guys just run to that before you go to anything else. It's not even a last resort with you people. I don't know why.
Okay.
You guys, ma'am, did you know, ma'am, did you know that the pagans used to sacrifice their babies? Did you know that the ancient religions used to take their babies and throw them in the fire? Do you understand that modern day abortion is nothing more than modern day Molech worship? That's all it is. It's modern day Molech worship. And everybody who carries out an abortion, they can say they're not religious because they're blue in the face. They're practicing something that ancient religions practice. It ain't nothing new. It ain't something like some smart person came up with. They used to take their babies, start a fire, and need to throw their babies into the fire. And what abortion is doing ain't no different.
Honey, I hate to tell you this, but there are big differences between correlation and causation.
Yes, but but how does that refute what he just said, though?
Because similar people did similar things to the babies. What does that matter?
Ma'am, again, get some sleep, get some oxygen to the brain, and then go talk to Antonio on his YouTube channel. And I would recommend you bring another strong debater with you because your audience may turn on you later. So just when you get some sleep, go to Antonio's channel. You'll probably be treated better than the private show you'll go to later.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate your input.
Now, I asked you a question earlier, a little bit off topic. Are you a fan of Miss Parker, or are you here for her? Or are you?
She's wonderful. I love Miss Parker.
Okay, so that's why you're so bad at this. Okay, I was just wondering.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm such a bad intellectual.
No. I didn't call you a bad intellectual. I'm saying that you're not good at debating this at all. And atheists agree with me on this too. You read the comments, you'll see what I'm talking about later.
I'll check it out.
They don't want me using you as a poster child, but unfortunately, you're the only one that came in here, and they know the consequences for not helping somebody like you. So, ma'am, Jesus Christ loves you, ma'am. If you just repent of your sins, you know what I mean, and acknowledge Christ, he can save you from your sins, and he can save you from whatever's bothering you and making you so tired right now. Miss Parker is leading a lot of people to the lake of fire. I know you think you don't think it exists, but that's what she's leading you.
Baby.
What?
I said Satan loves you too. Come on home.
Oh, brother. Anyway, repent of your sins and come to Jesus Christ. Satan hates us. He hates you too, by the way. So I'm going to put that out there. All right. So again, I appreciate GP coming in here, Brett Keane coming in here, Antonio coming in here, Veckel coming in here, and all the other people that came in here. I'm going to put you in the background, Paula Geese. You need to get some sleep, okay? I appreciate everybody who came in here today. And you're free to come on here again if you want to talk about these topics on the channel or whatever. Antonio, again, man, I haven't talked to you in a long time, man. Thank you for coming on here.
Always, brother.
Yeah, man. I think you did a good job as always. Keeping it logical. Isn't it funny how these guys are always talking about logic, but we're always the ones that's using real sound logic, and these people are using faulty logic and using terrible arguments to back up their positions.
All the time, man. It's like you said, it's been a minute since I've talked to you, and not one iota of how they reasoning has changed. And it can't change because the fact is, you're standing on the fullest worldview, no matter what. If you don't have Jesus Christ ordering your steps and how you think and how you reason, you're going to sound like a total fool. These people are not rational. Like you say all the time, they can't even account for why anything is right or wrong. And they want to lecture us about morals. It's ridiculous, man.
Exactly. And I didn't know she was an atheist, but when she said that, if she would have said that in the beginning of this conversation, I'd shut down all of her arguments before they got started. I'm like, wait a minute. So how do you come to the conclusion that something is right or wrong? But everything that she was saying was based on emotion. You know what I mean? I think GP was a little bit foolish with going along with it because it was all emotional responses. It wasn't anything that I thought was well thought out. They're always bringing up these 0.00000.000000001, arguments to try to justify murdering unborn babies, and I think it's sick. They'll get mad when you got two adults that abuse a child. You know what I mean? That may be like that's already alive and developed or whatever. But they don't have a problem with killing these babies before they even get a chance to breathe. It's just sick, in my opinion.
Indeed, yes, sir.
And very hypocritical, if you ask me. But with that being said, Antonio, if you ever do a show on this topic, man, please shoot me a link. I'll come over.
Absolutely. I'll be more than happy to do shows here on StreamYard. And I've been doing a whole lot of conversations on Clubhouse. So if you want to,
I need to look into that because Cherry Love and some other people was telling me about Clubhouse. I need to look into that. What is it? It's like YouTube?
Well, Clubhouse is just another social media platform. It's similar to Discord. It's not a gaming server or anything like that, but it's a lot of voice conversations and things like that. But I can tell you about it later, though.
Yeah, shoot me a link, man, anytime somebody's talking about something that I'm interested in or whatever. I'll come on in a second, especially the Hebrew Israelites. I love talking about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Hebrew Israelites, man, on Clubhouse. A lot of them. You'll have more fun than the barrel monkeys going around there.
Yeah. So this is what I'm going to do for the people that are in the background. When I go off air, I'll if you want to talk to me and Antonio off air, we can do that. But that's Hyperbolic, whoever her name was, Polar Hobbig or whatever. And I know GP's in the back, so I'll bring them in when I end the stream. But for those of you out there who are watching, I told you guys before I did this show, do not come into my room thinking we're dumb and stupid and coming in this room unprepared. We were members of the great debate community. We've heard these arguments before, and we know how to argue against them. If there's anything new that you have, that's what you need to bring. Don't come with this outdated 1942 stuff thinking you're going to come in here and pawn one of us, because that ain't going to happen. You couldn't do it during the great debate days. You ain't going to do it now. All right? So y'all need to repent of y'all sins and come to know Jesus Christ as your Savior. Stop being keyboard heroes trying to be disrespectful in the live chat. All right? Again, Antonio, thank you for coming. I'm going to bring GP back in for a private conversation. The three of us. All right?
All right. God bless, brother.
All right. God bless, guys.